morning. I'm Heidi Harris in for Marc Cox. Where's my liner, Carl? You don't care about me. It's obvious you do not care about me. I come in here. I'm pinch hitting.
Heidi Harris on 97.1 FM Talk.
I can't start without an official introduction. How are you guys? I'm so happy to see all of you.
What time is it where you are?
It is 3:07 in the morning.
And you are so chipper. You might be the most energetic person I've ever met. I don't know how much sleep you got, but I would imagine it was not much.
3-4 hours. Yeah.
Same
Remember,
though.
I did mornings for many, many years, as you guys may recall. So,
Yes.
you can do this on little sleep. And, people would always say that to me. You're so energetic. You don't sound tired. I'm thinking, no one's paying me to drag my butt in here and sound like I didn't get any sleep, right? People don't want to hear about your problems or your issues or how much sleep you got. If the baby kept you up all night, Kim, right? We don't care about that. We have to come in here and be cheerful. And I am cheerful. And I'm thrilled to work with you guys because I love you both so much.
It's good to see you, Heidi. I think it's been a while, so it's nice to work with you again.
And Kim was out yesterday.
Where were you yesterday? You had the same thing that you gave Mark?
No. My son was sick, and then I think I was catching a little bit of kind of a
And she didn't want to be patient zero.
less intense version of what he was dealing with.
Well, isn't that true that since 2020, you don't want to come to work and be that person coughing? Because that's how I got COVID. I got COVID because somebody at the radio station where I worked at the time had gone to a Black Lives Matter. Someone on the FM side had gone to a Black Lives Matter protest and brought it back into the building. And unbeknownst to me, 5 other people got COVID, including me at that time. And we didn't even know the germs were in the building, but that's how they got in there. So that guy was patient zero in our building. So I get you. Nowadays, you don't want to be coughing, sniffling.
But we should have always been doing that.
See, but what's interesting about what you just said, Heidi, is I thought that all BLM riots, if you will, protests, riots, some escalated to that point, they were all immune from COVID. Remember, COVID only existed in any sort of conservative movement and existed in church. It was running rampant in churches, but any sort of BLM stuff, I'm shocked that people were spreading at an event like that. Remember?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're in South Dakota, up there with Sturgis, and you're a gun-toting motorcycle guy, that's where you spread the COVID. That's it, but not in the Black Lives Matter rally. Very good point. Very true.
Or at the Lake of the Ozarks in a swimming pool.
Wasn't that spring break when all the college students were hanging out in the
made
pool or
national
something?
news
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful area for those who've not been there. I know you guys have, but it's beautiful. I have a friend who's got a house on there that you can't even believe.
You mean Steve Moore?
No, does Steve Moore have a house there in Lake of the Ozarks?
Steve does have a place there.
Okay. I've got a friend who's got a house in Four Seasons. Do you know where that area is?
Yeah. Oh, that's a nice area.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
He took 2 of them and put them together. Let's just put it that way.
Also smart.
Absolutely. The house is so nice that it made one of those magazines. They've got a fancy magazine back there. The house is featured in
Digest or something.
Something like, no, it's one for the Ozarks. I've got it somewhere.
Ozark
Did you find it like your local dentist's office while you're waiting and you pick up magazines you'd really normally have no interest in reading, and all of a sudden you just want to make sure you read every page of it while you're waiting a half an hour to get your name called on?
Isn't that true? Things that, do magazines even, I guess they do exist once in a while.
Yeah, but who's buying them?
Doctors'
offices, I guess. But you see them at the grocery store all the time, and maybe people read them while they're waiting to get checked out. If they even go to an actual person these days, so many people, myself included, I tend to opt, unless I have a lot of groceries, for example, I will opt for self-checkout.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just faster.
And you know what? But here's the thing. Every time I use the self-checkout, every time I have to call somebody over. Apparently, it's me.
I do think that might be you, Heidi, because I never really have to do that.
I try, because I hate grocery shopping. My husband does it. I'll go in and buy 1 or 2 things. We'd starve to death if it were up to me. But he works that app like a boss. And he goes in there and he knows how, like one day, if he's got points a certain day or bonuses, whatever it is, he knows how to work it. When I go in there, it's dire necessity. We're out of something we need to live. And I buy 3 things and I run out the door. And even with the 3 things that I buy, I've got to call somebody over. Excuse me, ma'am, this isn't working.
Might be operator error.
I'm sure it is. We've got a lot to get to today, as Nicole Murray is going to be joining us from This Morning with Gordon Deal. Jim Carafano from Heritage is going to, and Kim on a whim. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about regarding the situation in New York City. Kim is as fascinated as I am by the story, and I just love it.
It's just getting, something smells bad about this whole investigation.
Yes. And when I say I love it, I don't love the fact that a human being was murdered in daylight. I'm not saying that. And I know a lot of people on social media have no sympathy for him at all. I'm not going there. But the whole story is fascinating to many people because there's so many angles of it that are so interesting. So we're going to talk a lot about that today. I'm Heidi Harris in for Marc Cox. Here's the Marc Cox short list.
The Marc Cox short list.
I admire Mr. Musk. He's been involved in very important parts of American society. Yes, he's on a different team, but that doesn't make me an enemy.
Get ready. He's going to be cleaning house. Should he bring a broom or a front loader, you guys? What do you think?
As we predicted, and as I said to all of you, if Donald Trump is elected, it will change the dynamic of the Russia war on Ukraine. And we're seeing that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, already things are changing all over the country, all over the world as a result of Donald Trump being reelected. Isn't that interesting? Hasn't even taken the White House yet. Already the things are in play.
Kash Patel, counterterrorism prosecutor, understands the government. And if the FBI doesn't need to be cleaned out, what does?
Very good point. I've actually interviewed Kash Patel, very nice guy. And a couple of years ago, I emceed a dinner where he was the featured speaker. Brilliant guy. I think he's terrific, and I think he's going to be great. And he seems to be one of the people Trump has chosen so far who seems to have everybody agreeing with him. Remember, he worked for the Obama administration, too. That's key, too.
Crime Stoppers now offering $10,000 in rewards for information on the gunman. The New York Post also reporting that police obtained the suspect's Starbucks trash, so there may actually be some DNA.
We're going to talk a lot about that this morning. Yes, we are. On the Marc Cox Morning Show, I'm Heidi Harrison for Marc Cox.
I guess, you know what? Let's do the anthem right now. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good.
So proudly we hear at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming in the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free?
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Things are moving pretty well out there. 70, 270, and 170. No problems to be found. We've got 55. Some slight delays getting into the work zone between Arsenal and down to Lindbergh, both north and southbound on 55. Otherwise, the rest of it is moving along just fine. If you're on 55 or 64, make that 44 looking clear. And so is 70, both east and westbound, with no delays to be found through St. Louis. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
How many agencies can they pull out of the system, ripped out of federal government spending, and we never even notice?
The Annie Fry Show, weekdays from noon to 3.
I'm Brian Westbrook with Coalition Life. While we celebrate the reversal of Roe v. Wade, there is still much work to be done to support life and pregnant women before they cross state lines. Together, we can provide the love, support, and options that women need to choose life for their children. Coalition Life celebrates more than 3,500 clients served and thousands of lives saved since we began this mission with you. Each one is a miracle. Over the years, day in and day out, our team has walked alongside women facing the fear and challenges of an unexpected pregnancy. Through the support of this community, we have given them hope and a path to choose life for the children they carry. Visit coalitionlife.com to give your vital support while reducing or completely eliminating your state taxes through Missouri's 70% tax credit. Learn more at coalitionlife.com, coalitionlife.com.
Greg Hammonds at greghammonds.com wants to remind you that if you pay for your own health insurance, open enrollment ends January 15th. If you are looking for coverage, do not go online looking for quotes. You'll get endless calls from call centers, and they will not stop. Instead, call Greg, an expert with over 40 years' experience, and he can provide sound advice for your health insurance needs. Their plans, if you qualify, let you pick your doctors, and it's 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. The monthly premiums are independent of your income, so there will be no surprise tax bills. If you pay for your own health insurance, own a small business, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. They will custom design a plan managed by you, not the government.
Living in reality. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Heidi Harris on 97.1 FM Talk.
Good morning. I'm in for Marc Cox because his voice was shot today. So I'm here filling in.
It
with
was
some of my
shot yesterday. If you were listening 24 hours ago, you'd go, how is that man speaking?
Well, 24 hours ago, I was preparing to do another show at a sister station in another city, so I didn't hear him, but I'm glad that he is at least resting it up. Was it laryngitis or what? Just shot from doing things?
He believed his granddaughter gave him, as he called it, the ick.
The ick, the crud. And the thing is, when you get that kind of a voice and you do radio, it may or may not be painful to you, but it's painful to the audience.
He said he felt fine.
Right. But it's distracting to people who are listening to you.
Yeah, you're fixated on it.
Yeah, you really are. So hopefully he'll get some rest and he'll get over it. But that's why grandkids are a pain. Just kidding. Okay, lots to get to during the Marc Cox Morning Show today. Kim on a Whim coming up in a bit. And we've have some things to discuss today. As we're all working, from various places this morning, Joni Ernst yesterday published a Senate report that found that, you want to guess how many people who are federal workers are working?
Oh, I saw this statistic.
Did you see this?
6%.
6% are going into the, can you believe that? 6%. Federal workers all over the country. Meanwhile, wow. So apparently she began her investigation into the role of telework in the federal government last year. Now, if a personal company, private company wants to allow people to work from home, that's their business. I've been doing it for a couple of years. A lot of people do, but that's a personal thing. But the idea that the federal government is paying people, and by the way, the thing that bothers me is they're paying for these buildings. They're paying rent on buildings where nobody is.
So it's interesting you say that, because my brother-in-law's brother, who lives in Iowa, he's actually a regular listener of the show, which is really cool, Jeremy. And he was talking about this. He was saying, isn't there something that could be done? They talk about these vacant buildings where they're still paying, I'm sure in some cases, like if it's in the DC area, an enormous rent every single month. Why would they not be able to rent those out to a different business that would be able to put it to better use, sell it? Why are they just holding on to this if not a single one of their staff members is actually showing up to work?
Well, I'll tell you why, because it's OPM, other people's money, and they don't really care.
That's ridiculous. Hopefully this is what Doge is going to come in and say, this is not going to fly anymore.
Is that what you call it, Doge, the D-O-G-E? Is that our official
That's what I've heard it called with Elon Musk and Ramaswamy, yeah.
Okay. The Department of Government Efficiency.
Elon likes Dogecoin.
Dogecoin. Well, God bless Elon Musk. I mean, remember he fired, half the people at Twitter? And did you notice anything? I didn't notice anything when they fired all these people.
Any changes as far as how we would use the app? No.
Yeah. I didn't notice anything. I mean, he went in there and just cleaned house big time. But see, that's what they do. If you're a private company, you look at that and you say, okay, I've got most of my people working from home. That's fine with me. I'm going to get a smaller building. I'm going to give up some of the space that I'm renting. Government doesn't do that because they don't care. You and I are paying for the air conditioning and the heating on all these buildings with nobody in them. That's crazy. 6%.
By the way, Joni Ernst from Iowa, I interviewed her when I used to work in Des Moines, and man, she's taken some heat, and honestly, rightfully so, for any sort of comment she's made as it relates to Pete Hegseth, because she supposedly met with him and has still said she's not a yes on whether she would confirm him. And now I'm seeing all these videos on social media about ways she's kind of backstabbed Trump and gone against what he has tried to put in place. So she's not a very well-loved woman right now.
It's interesting because if I were in the Senate right now and I were going to have to look at the Pete Hegseth thing, I would just say, listen, I'm going to reserve comment until everything is out there. That's what I would say. But she has definitely not been a yes vote. And there are people who are already saying they're going to primary her if she votes against Hegseth. That's ridiculous. I don't believe that should be happening. As a senator, you have a right to decide whether or not you think somebody's fit for whatever they've been chosen for. And I'm shocked that they would try to go after her like that. But that's no surprise, I guess, for them.
Yeah, I don't know.
The MAGA people.
I mean, do you think that Hegseth will be confirmed? Because I know they've been talking about Ron DeSantis as a possible replacement. You think that would be who Trump would put in that place?
Yay!
In that position?
Ron DeSantis.
I like DeSantis.
How many times has Ron DeSantis been married?
Once.
Thank you. That's just one of the things. I'm not going to sit here and bash Pete Hegseth. Okay, I don't want to do that. I think he's, obviously is a patriot. He's, tried to, do the best he could, served his country, served veterans. I get all that, but there are a lot of issues that are going to come up in the hearings. So like that situation with the woman in California, I don't believe he did anything to her that was. But you pay some. Here's why you have to pay somebody off. You pay somebody off when you put yourself in a position where you can be blackmailed. I'm not saying he did anything. I don't believe he did. And he said he paid her because he was getting ready to start a Fox show and this and that. Okay, fine. I understand. And there are a lot of people who have false allegations made against them. We know that. I mean, go back to the Bible. Potiphar's wife, anybody? Women will lie about things like that. And obviously men get away with things like that. We know that. But he put himself in a situation where he could be blackmailed because the situation didn't look very good. I'm just being as clear as I can on this. And to me, that shows a lack of judgment. I know it's been a while. I get it. It wasn't yesterday. I understand. But the point is, these are the things that can be a problem. And if you're getting blackmailed for this, what else is going to come up, whether it's warranted or not? You've got to be very careful. Billy Graham rule, guys. Billy Graham rule. If you've got the Billy Graham rule, you're not going to put yourself in a situation where someone's going to try to blackmail you. There was a story, very famous story about Billy Graham, because you know how he was. He wasn't going to be alone with a woman who wasn't his wife and all these things, so that nothing could be said about him. And there was one particular incident that he wrote about in one of his books where somebody knocked on the door and he had somebody else answer the door when he went to his hotel. A man who was with him answered the door. And somebody tried to shove a woman into the room and get pictures of it. Tried to do this to Billy Graham.
Oh, I bet this stuff happens way more than we think. I mean, to a degree, yeah. You absolutely have to take every precaution there is to make sure that you're not in a position where someone could make those allegations against you. I think about like Brett Kavanaugh, for example, right? And the allegation that woman made that was, 30 years later she comes forward or something like that. Yeah.
So
stupid. And you look at someone like Megyn Kelly, and Megyn Kelly loathed Donald Trump after that whole debate debacle. And now she goes out on stage when he was campaigning and endorses him. And she said that what really stuck out to her and what made her kind of regain the respect for Donald Trump that she has now is that he stood by Brett Kavanaugh through all those allegations. So it's interesting to see how Trump handles this whole situation. Are they false allegations? I don't know. The whole mom situation where she's going out and saying, hey, I wrote this letter saying how disappointed I am in my son, but look, he's a different man now. He is right for this position.
Yeah, there's something about your mama, isn't there? You can be the most accomplished person and you can walk in your house and your mother can put you in diapers in 1 second. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
My mama can set me straight in 1 second. That's how your mama, the power that mama should always have. And based on that email that she sent out, it seems as if she was very frustrated with what was going on in his marital life and this and that. I'm not going to, quote it because, it's happened years ago. But, it gets, I don't know who got a hold of it, but that, they'll stop at no lengths to destroy you.
Right.
And I'm not saying everything that's being said about him is fair. I'm not saying that for a second, but I think there are a lot of questions and as to his judgment about some things. And that's going to come up.
Well, it's really just created a circus around it. I think that's what the left is really good about is if they can get this talked about enough, that's all people are focusing on. They're not talking about the reasons why he could be qualified as a defense secretary. They're talking about these sexual assault allegations.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that is a problem. And, we've got to try to change the narrative on some of these things because they do. What happens is you wind up becoming a distraction. And if you're a distraction, that's a problem. We need to get these people confirmed quickly.
Look at Matt
and
Gaetz.
Not have it. I'd rather have Ron DeSantis. I think he's great. I love him and I'd rather see him do it. So, we'll see what happens. I predict he's not going to make it, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong about this. Not like I hate on the guy. I don't hate on him. I just think there are too many distractions and too many questions and, past behavior that is questionable. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Not sitting in judgment of anybody, but this is now coming up. We have to talk about it. I'm Heidi Harris in for Marc Cox.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right? And right now your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. Good for you. That's cash you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel, everything you want. The catch is you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with True Hold, Sell and Stay Leaseback Program. This is a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to True Hold while the value is high. You bank all that equity in cash now, and you can stay in your home as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And True Hold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. True Hold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a True Hold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993. That's 1-855-300-1993. Or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. TrueHold.com.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The official 97.1 FM Talk Weather Center forecast. Clear to partly cloudy and cold overnight. We'll reach an overnight low of 19. Not as cold for your Friday with sunshine and a few clouds. Friday, we'll see a high of 41. Mostly sunny Saturday. Warmer Saturday, we'll reach a high of 55. It'll be mild Sunday with some sunshine, then turning cloudy with a high of 59. I'm Drew Shannon for 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Jerry Willis, and this is the Fox Business Report. The big jobs number for November comes out this morning. The expectation, 200,000 non-farm jobs were created, rebounding from 12,000 jobs added in October. 4.2 is the estimated unemployment rate. This coming after we got another piece of the labor sector puzzle Thursday. The number of first-time claims for jobless help last week.
224,000 for initial. The estimate was only for 215, but continuing claims fell.
Fox's Cheryl Cassoni. Honda is recalling more than 200,000 SUVs in the U.S. because of concerns about fuel leaks, which in the presence of an ignition source increases the risk of fire. The recall will affect like certain 2023 to 24 Passport and 2023 to 25 Pilot vehicles. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
Trump's victory doesn't mean our financial worries are over. Hi, Dr. Ron Paul here. Washington's spending addiction still threatens your savings. That's why I recommend gold IRAs from my friends at Birch Gold Group. These accounts protect your retirement from government mismanagement. For a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word SHELTER to 989898. Don't wait. Text SHELTER to the number 989898 now for your free kit from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, things are moving well. We've got 270 southbound around 55 with a crash from earlier. They're clearing that out of the right lane, a little bit slow going. Northbound side looks good on 270. East-west, no problems. On 170, delay-free either direction. You've got 70 moving well, and also 55. Some delays through that work zone, both north and southbound from about Lindbergh up to Arsenal. We'll see some on and off delays. 64 and 44 looking pretty clear for you. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
This is the giving season, so on the Annie Fry Show, we're turning our attention to the St. Louis Area Food Bank.
Join us for a special live broadcast and food drive at Ruler Foods this Wednesday.
Together, we can make a real difference. This Wednesday at Ruler Foods in St. Charles.
Clint Black in concert. Clint Black, an incredible night featuring some of his greatest hits. Saturday, April 12th, 7 p.m., the Family Arena. Clint Black in concert. Special guests Ruby Lee and Emily Ann Roberts. On sale Friday, 10 a.m. at the Carroll House Furniture Box Office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Clint Black.
It's time to raise a little hell. The Ozark Mountain Daredevils. Saturday, March 1st, the Family Arena. With special guests, Molly Hatchet and the Georgia Satellites. This is the farewell tour of the Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
And keep your hands to yourself.
Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture Box Office, located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.
What's your favorite four-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our four-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
I've got great news. We're back with more on the Marc Cox Morning Show. Kim on a whim.
I'm telling you what, this investigation into who killed the United Healthcare CEO in New York City is just getting weirder by the minute. I keep seeing new details, and I'm so fascinated by this whole case. And I think one of the most interesting parts that I've seen, new developments, would be that they're saying there were words written on the shell casings that they found. And I want you to hear part of the story about that from Fox.
Those reported words eerily similar to the name of this book, Delay, Deny, Defend, which is about how insurance companies deny valid claims for profit. In fact, Thompson's wife tells NBC News, quote, there had been some threats. I don't know details. I just know that he said there were some people that had been threatening him.
So those were the words. Well, it was deny, defend, depose. But they're trying to act like it was somebody who was angry about not getting coverage, and that was maybe their motive for killing him. Because within a matter of hours, I mean, it had to have been less than 12 hours, this guy's wife, Brian Thompson's wife's going and talking to the news and saying, well, I don't know all the details, but he had been getting some threats about people angry about not getting covered. So, yeah, I don't know details. Well, local police said they'd received no reports of threats, and you'd think when a guy is at his level that at the very least, just as a precaution, they would have reported those threats to police and had people maybe walking with him when he was, say, out and about, like in New York City at 6 a.m. I think that his wife, who we now know was not living with him, they were separated. She was living in a home like a mile away in Minnesota. I think she might have something to do with this. I don't think this is about a guy angry he's not getting coverage. There's a lot of people angry for not getting coverage, and I just don't think it typically would drive someone to want to go out and murder the CEO in broad daylight in New York City. This wasn't like some creepy alley in North City, St. Louis. This was, people were, I mean, if you saw the surveillance video, Heidi, people were walking by as this was happening.
Right. That's crazy. It's 6:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, and the crazy thing is, apparently he had security there, but they didn't walk with him down this street. The corporation had provided security for him, but for some reason they weren't with him. Now, who would know that? Who would know exactly where he was going to be? And the killer apparently was waiting. Now we're finding out that the killer got into town a month ago from Atlanta on a bus. So this whole thing is fascinating. I agree with you. It stinks to high heaven. I mean, my nose is twitching, especially with the, made a bit something about coverage, and then all of a sudden these words. If it's a hitman, who's gonna put words on bullets?
I heard some investigators say, I've been in law enforcement for decades, and never have I seen words written on shell casings. The fact that this guy goes to a hostel, checks in at the hostel using a fake ID, he has cash, then goes to a Starbucks, of all places, a very public area where there absolutely will be cameras, goes into a Starbucks and is stupid enough to throw a water bottle in the trash can, which would have his DNA, no doubt, because I don't think at that point he was wearing gloves. Maybe I'm wrong.
Right.
Does that, then has this burner phone. I'm assuming the phone they found in the alley where he'd been hiding, waiting for Thompson to walk by, had been his phone, so they took that. This guy made some critical mistakes. And something just feels a little off with the wife going to talk to media that quickly. I felt like she knew people were going to look to her, because that's what happens when there's a murder. You're going to talk to the people who were closest with that person. And I think she was trying to quickly push off any sort of thought that, maybe it's the estranged wife.
Yeah, I think it's a little too neat. I do. And I think that it's odd that he knew exactly when this guy would be walking down the street. I mean, obviously, anyone can find out when an investor meeting's being held and, who's going to attend and all that. I get all that. But to know that he was going to be walking right by at that point in the morning without anybody with him, makes you wonder. And then we've got video, as you know, 10 minutes before the shooting of the shooter talking on the phone. Have we verified that it was a burner phone, or I can't believe he dropped his own phone.
I thought I heard it was a burner phone.
That's what I would think. I mean, but even that could have DNA on it, as you mentioned.
Right.
And especially, even if you're wearing gloves, you've got to it looks like he's putting the phone up to his face in the video, right?
That's true. You're going to have skin cells, right? Hair. Absolutely.
That's right. There's your DNA on the phone. So much for your gloves.
And what were you saying during commercial break about this backpack that the guy was wearing? Because I had not heard this development.
Okay, so here's the thing. The backpack is, and I didn't know this either, but people who know the backpack were texting the guy who owns a company called Peak Design. His name is Peter Daring. He owns Peak Design. He said he looked down at his phone Wednesday morning in San Francisco and saw about 10 texts from people he'd not heard from in years. They sent pictures and had a question. Is this your backpack? Turns out it was his backpack. And they're quite expensive, but they haven't made this particular backpack for a couple of years. That's kind of interesting. They have not. It was purchased between 2016 and 2019. Now, he immediately called police and said, this is the kind of backpack that we manufacture, I believe, and he's happy to help in any way that he can. But when I saw the backpack, we've all seen the pictures, right? Here's a gray backpack. It stands out. You know what? When you think about a hunter in the woods, you got a white-tailed deer, right? And the reason a lot of people think that they have white tails, you follow the white tail with your eyes, and the minute the deer turns sideways, the tail disappears and you lose sight of them, right? A lot of people believe that's God's design for deer to protect them from predators. So when I saw that backpack, I thought, it's very distinctive. you know he's going to ditch it or he's going to cover it or something. Why would you wear something? I mean, who in New York City has a gray backpack? Everyone has black backpacks, right? So you'd think that he would, probably ditch it, cover it, whatever, once he got to Central Park. That's my guess.
Well, not only that, but he was stupid enough to take down the face mask that he had on, so the surveillance cameras caught the guy smiling.
Right. Apparently he was flirting with the woman at the hostel. And she said, "Oh, take your mask down," or something. Who knew how important that would be, right? So he took his mask down to flirt with her. And can you imagine? Would that be a rookie move or what? How stupid.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I feel like this guy's an amateur. I mean, people are talking about how it looked like his gun jammed at one point and that it seemed as though he had been somewhat well-versed in shooting.
That,
he knew how to fix it relatively quickly. So
that means
this
he's
was not
a
his
pro.
he's not a pro, but this was not his first time. But it seems like he might be. This is his first hit job. I'm going to say, right? I don't think that this is a guy who has experience doing murder for hire in the past.
Well, it's interesting too because the kind of gun that he used was like a replica of a World War II, and I saw one story where they had traced the gun purchased back to Connecticut, and I looked online, and these guns cost about $2,000. They've got a silencer with them, and the action of them. That's why you had to to cock it, boom, and then fix the jam, clear the jam. So yeah, I'm not a gun expert, but that part's fascinating too because it's a very distinctive gun. It's not your Saturday night special that everybody else has in New York City, right? So there's a lot to unpack in this story, but I agree with you. This thing stinks to high heaven. Here's the other thing: I have friends who have worked in homicide in the past. And they don't tell the public everything. They don't tell their captains everything. One of my friends was saying we'd lie to our captain if we had to throw him off the trail, to not be telling the media things. So they've got as you mentioned, the water bottle. Apparently they've got that, possibly a coffee cup that he used. I mean, they're all over this because you're on surveillance video pretty much anywhere in New York City.
I mean, even the cash he would have handed the hostel worker when he checked in. I mean, there's all sorts of evidence that I'm hoping is going to help them track this guy down. The fact that he takes an electric bike, that's the getaway, transportation that he decided to go with or whatever, is interesting too. I mean, surely people would have seen him around. Yeah, I thought that they did, by the way. That was what was so interesting to me about it. Would they not have had a tracker?
They do. They have GPS on those things. So we don't know. He went into Central Park.
Well, initially they were saying I thought that it was a city bike, and then I thought I saw another article saying no, it wasn't. So it seems like there's a discrepancy in who had the bike and who. I don't know. Maybe it was his own electric bike. People buy those nowadays, right? But he doesn't live in New York. The whole thing is weird. I don't think it's someone who's angry about not having coverage.
No.
I think this is someone who hired that guy.
There are a lot of those, though.
Oh, well, trust me, I will be the first to say how irritated I get trying to deal with insurance companies and what they cover, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I get why people are frustrated. Yeah, but I don't think that's what's at play here.
Different whim.
You would think if it was somebody who got denied coverage, it'd be the angry white guy, the angry middle-aged white guy doing the shooting, not this kid.
Well, this guy looked like he was in decent shape too. He wasn't really overweight, or it wasn't like he wasn't.
That doesn't mean his
old.
wife didn't die.
Right, but what if I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm not saying this is happening, but
all speculation.
This is all speculation. What if there was some sort of an affair happening, even though they were estranged? Something could have been going on, and that's what happened. Or, he seemed like a good guy, 50 years old. Brian Thompson seems put together. Maybe he was mixing it up with the wrong people.
Yeah, and then there was a DOJ investigation. There's that. A lot of people thought he potentially could have rolled on some other people. We don't know about. I mean, that's why this case is so interesting to me also. There's so many aspects of it. But it may just come down to a simple, and we're not accusing anybody here. We're just talking. And I agree with you. As soon as the wife came out and said something like, well, it could have been something about coverage. Okay, first of all, they're not living together, as you mentioned. They haven't lived together for a year. So do you really think he'd call her and say, honey, I had some threats? Do you really think he would do that, call his estranged wife and talk to her about what's going on?
Yeah, I think that's really odd. But what you brought up, too, about this DOJ probe where they were saying that maybe he was doing some insider trading.
Yeah.
I mean, because he sold I guess they sold $15.1 million worth of shares less than 2 weeks before this whole thing went down.
That's not legal.
So that is not legal. That's right, Carl. That would be insider trading. So I wonder, too, if there was something that maybe that was maybe it wasn't the wife. Maybe that was the bigger thing. And maybe the wife knew about it and she's trying to cover. I think whether she hired this person to kill him or not, I think she has some knowledge of it. I think she knew there were some things going on that she wasn't revealing to people.
Yeah, well, you always look to the people closest to who benefits the most from somebody getting killed. That's what it comes down to. Thank you, Kim. So appreciate that. I'm Heidi Harrison for Marc Cox.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Things look pretty sharp out there. If you're traveling on 270 all directions, we've got a southbound side crash right around 55 with a slight delay there. That's being cleared as we speak. The northbound side a little slow around 44 and again around 64. You've got 55 moving a little slow, but in that work zone between Arsenal and Lindbergh, roughly both north and southbound, you're going to find some delays getting in and out of the work zone. Otherwise, 44 and 64 looking good, and 170 and they ain't giving you any trouble. 70 east and westbound, pretty clear. Some delays through O'Fallon. Other than that, you're in decent shape. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
You've got thoughts. Did you know you also have a microphone? Listen to 97.1 on the Odyssey app and click the microphone to leave a voice message. Whatever's on your mind, let us know by clicking the microphone in the Odyssey app.
This holiday season, save $30 on the GTA 26 handheld garden pruner. Now just $149.99. Visit your local Steel dealer today or shop online at steelusa.com. Offer valid for a limited time. Only at participating dealers while supplies last.
Hey, it's Brady Cook, quarterback at Mizzou, for Macadoodle's Darden Prairie, where wine tastings happen all day and friends are made when the door opens. Macadoodles has everything from fan-favorite California cabs to interesting wines from the old world. A wide selection of bourbon and tequila, and basically every spirit you can imagine. Whether you need to stock up the liquor cabinet for your next party, or you're having a cozy night in with a bottle of wine, Macadoodles has you covered. The friendliest staff in town. Come visit Macadoodles on Bryan Road, just north of the Page Extension in St. Charles County.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey everyone, this is Sarah from Fantagram, and I am here speaking out about mental illness and the seriousness of this disease in hopes that we can overcome the stigma surrounding it. Last year, my sister committed suicide after her lifelong battle with depression and anxiety. There has been a stigma in our culture surrounding mental illness and suicide. This stigma can lead to discrimination and negative stereotyping, which makes it harder for the ones who are suffering to reach out. But it's okay to not feel okay, and it's okay to get help. We can all help by listening to people around us, encouraging friends and family who are struggling to talk to either us or professional counselors. We all need to help instill courage in others facing these challenges. And I'm listening.
If he were a baseball player, he'd be batting 1,000. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Heidi Harris on 97.1 FM Talk.
Good morning. Happy to be in pinch hitting for Marc because his voice was shot as of yesterday. So I am giving him a 3-day weekend. Happy to be joining you. You can follow me, all the socials, Heidi Harris Show, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Rumble, all that good stuff. Heidi Harris Show. Kimmy and I were just talking about, because this is a fascinating case, about Brian Thompson from United Health Group, basically executed, assassinated in broad daylight, 6:45 in the morning in New York City. But you had referenced the DOJ, or maybe I did, the DOJ lawsuit. Here's the thing about this, okay? There's a lawsuit that's been filed by the City of Hollywood Firefighters Pension Fund, and they're saying that United Health was aware of a DOJ investigation, and it wasn't about the insider trading they did. It was about antitrust violations, okay? They're saying that these people, they're alleging that they were aware of the DOJ investigation since at least last October 2023. Okay. And instead of disclosing this material investigation to investors or the public, United Health insiders sold more than $120 million of their personally held United Health shares. To your point that you were mentioning, Kim, this gets curiouser and curiouser, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what makes me think. And I know we were talking about the wife and her potential involvement in this case. And my thought would be that she has to, my guess is she, at least if she didn't do it or like hire somebody to do it for personal reasons, then maybe she knew something about what was going on here with them selling $15.1 million worth of stock in February, which was less than 2 weeks before the antitrust probe whole thing went public.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, that's possible. But, and how many executives have done all kinds of things like this, shenanigans,
Oh,
right?
I'm sure.
They know what's going on at a higher level. And insurance companies, a lot of people hate them, as you know, because they deny all kinds of things. There have also been lawsuits against United Health and Humana because did you know they were using AI to deny people claims?
No, that wouldn't surprise me,
Yeah.
though, I guess.
They've been doing that. And we talked a little bit earlier this morning about the idea of the anesthesia, the idea that they were going to start cutting off anesthesia. If your surgery is supposed to take 3 hours, they're going to cut that off after 3 hours. Just even if the surgery goes 4 hours, you're going to pay for that extra hour.
So I have an interesting take on this, I think, because as much as it irritates me what Anthem came out and said about not covering after a certain amount of time costs for anesthesia, I can empathize with what they're saying is potential overbilling, because if you look at a charge from a hospital, it is absolutely insane. And I've heard that when insurance is involved, that a lot of these hospitals will, kind of go a little bit crazy with what they're saying the costs are for a particular procedure. Like they're going to do something that might really not be necessary, but they know they can bill for it.
That's right.
And trust me when I tell you, I think that a lot of these insurance companies are corrupt, but I think there's some corruption going on in the hospitals too with ways that they're billing. And so I think that's really, in the fact, that's what Anthem has said they were trying to do, was to prevent overbilling. So I think there's actually a side to both of these cases.
Yeah. Well, I think you absolutely do have to have some kind of guidelines. Like this surgery is supposed to take this long. This rehab is supposed to take this long. One of the things that was mentioned in this 46-page lawsuit I read the other day about United Healthcare and also Humana was this idea that AI was denying how long, in other words, let's say you had a knee operation, okay, you had knee surgery. They were denying rehab after a certain point. Like you're supposed to get 12 days of rehab, but not 25 days of rehab. So, but to your point, there is a responsibility with patients, because there are patients who won't do what the doctor tells them to do. And then they need another knee replacement or another hip surgery or something else because they don't do. It's very hard once you have, I know friends who've had this done. Once you have something like that done, you've got to work. You've got to work with physical therapy. You've got to get up and walk whether you feel like it or not. And some people don't. And so if I'm an insurance company, or if it was me paying myself, I would say, no, I'm not going to pay for an extra week of rehab because you won't get off the couch and do what you're supposed to do. So there have to be guidelines of some kind. I'm not defending insurance companies necessarily, but there have to be guidelines that have to be followed.
I agree. I think that there has to be some sort of regulation as it relates to this care, these procedures, post-op.
Yeah.
It can't just be the Wild West. As much as I get irritated with insurance companies and the way that they've handled even some of the procedures I've had to have, it's frustrating when I feel like the doctors in some cases are taking advantage of that, knowing that we'll just bill it to insurance.
Exactly. Well, regardless, even if healthcare was, a lot of people want free healthcare. I'm using air quotes here. Even if healthcare were actually free, there's a limit. If they're giving out free pizzas, there's a limit to how much everybody can take. Right? There's going to be a limit to everything. You may not get, there are people who want chemo who are clearly not going to survive, and they want more and more chemo. Should the insurance company give that to you because you can't admit the fact that you're dying? Should we give chemo to a 26-year-old burglar and ignore a grandma because she's a certain age? I mean, there are all kinds of decisions that have to be made when you have insurance. And at the end of the day, they have to make a profit. I'm not defending some of the things that they do at all. I have a friend whose wife had breast cancer. recently was diagnosed. It took them months to get approvals for her to even start
Mm-hmm.
chemo. That's terrible.
Right. I empathize with people who say there should be universal health care, that you should be able to go to a doctor's office, a hospital, if you are in an emergency and you need that care. I get that argument. The problem with it, to your point, Heidi, is that it de-incentivizes people to get up off their rear ends and do stuff. There are people who eat terrible and never want. I'm not saying I'm Mrs. Exercise, okay? I'll call myself out for this. I'm trying to get back into it. But there are people who do not take care of themselves at all, and they take advantage of the system. So for those of for people like us who care about that, why should we be paying for their health care when they do not care?
Exactly. And they'll weigh 100 pounds more than they should, and it's got all kinds of consequences attached to that, and they don't want to do it. So, personal responsibility it's fading quickly. That's for sure. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Marc Cox.
Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com. Heidi Harris on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at ThrottleNet, and you've probably heard George Rosenthal from ThrottleNet on the show. He's a technology whiz, and George and his team can educate you and your business on the dangers lurking with technology. Here's a unique opportunity along those lines. Does your company have a lunch and learn or guest speakers? For a limited time, ThrottleNet is providing free lunch and learns to provide cybersecurity awareness training. One click can cause a ton of damage to your business. ThrottleNet is determined to make sure that doesn't happen. And if it does, they're the cybersecurity experts who can help. ThrottleNet is known for high customer satisfaction, averaging 99% happiness with over 35,000 surveys. They have an industry-leading response time of less than 2 minutes. And no clients of ThrottleNet have ever paid ransom as a result of a cyber attack. Contact ThrottleNet at throttlenet.com/971 and we can schedule your free company lunch. Don't miss out. Find out more today about ThrottleNet at throttlenet.com/971.
Honey, bags are packed and in the trunk. Is the car good to drive to Mother's holiday dinner?
Yes, dear. Car's good. We have Ox Car Care for their extended car service plan. Ox covers our repair bills if anything happens. We have no worries if any problems come up on our holiday travels. Ox Car Care has our back.
I remember. Ox has flexible coverage plans that can protect issues with engine, transmission, brake systems, and so much more.
Yep, we don't pay. Ox pays. Ox gets it fixed for us. Joe at the auto shop says Ox Car Care pays them directly, and there's no complicated paperwork. Ox is A+ rated, with already millions of dollars paid out in claims.
Right. They handled our claim from start to finish, unlike those other companies. Good call. The last thing we need is an unexpected car repair bill this holiday. The only thing now is, which pie is Aunt Martha making?
Drive with absolute peace of mind this holiday season. Call Ox Car Care for your free quote. 800-296-3315. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox today. 800-296-3315. 800-296-3315 or oxcarcare.com.
Hi, I'm Uzo Aduba, and right now, medical information is not regularly being shared within the research community, but you can help change that. Patients can help accelerate research by sharing their information and unique experience.
Everyone's experience with cancer matters, including my own.
If you're a cancer patient in the U.S. and its territories or Canada, you may be able to play a part in accelerating cancer research and uncovering new breakthroughs simply by sharing your patient data with researchers around the world.
My unique experience can make the difference of life and death to some of the people in my community.
It is in our stories and data that the answers can be found.
Join Stand Up to Cancer, Count Me In, and thousands of patients like Maeve, Bridget, and Joel in this movement.
For our family.
For our friends.
For us all.
The information is out there. Together we can unlock it. Join in at standuptocancer.org/countmein.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
They'll help carry out mass deportations of illegal immigrants. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President-elect Trump's picks for his next administration.
Rodney Scott as Customs and Border Protection Commissioner. You might remember Scott served as Border Patrol Chief in Trump's first administration, and then for the first part of the Biden administration until he was pushed out, and he's been an extremely vocal critic of Biden's open border policies.
Fox's Bill Malugin near the Trump estate in West Palm Beach, Florida. The president-elect also wants Caleb Vitello to be the acting ICE director leading immigration and customs enforcement. enforcement.
They've allowed 21 million people into our country coming through open borders from many, many countries. They came from jails. They came from mental institutions, insane asylums even.
That was President-elect Trump at the Fox Nation Patriot Awards last night. He was honored as Patriot of the Year. The Trump nominee for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth vows to keep going, continuing to meet with Republican senators amid allegations that he calls an attempted media takedown of sexual misconduct and alcohol abuse, financial mismanagement.
I'm a different man than I was years ago. And that's a redemption story that I think a lot of Americans appreciate, and I know from fellow vets that I've spent time with, they resonate with that as well.
It's day 3 of the manhunt for the masked gunman who killed United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson outside a Manhattan hotel. Police know more about him, have surveillance video showing him unmasked, and they also believe he took a bus to New York a week ago.
Police sources also revealing to Fox they have a cell phone they believed was dropped by the suspect near the scene with fingerprints, and a water bottle purchased by the suspect at a nearby Starbucks that is being used to build a DNA profile.
Fox's Chanley Painter. A political drama keeps playing out in South Korea. The leader of the governing party wants to suspend President Yoon's constitutional powers as parliament considers impeaching him days after the president declared martial law and then hours later had to rescind it when angry lawmakers overruled him. America's listening to Fox News.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Good morning. A cold 20 degrees now to start our Friday morning at 6:03. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield says it's no longer moving forward with its controversial new policy to limit insurance coverage for anesthesia following massive pushback. The insurance company says this change was part of an effort to make healthcare more affordable by reducing overbilling for anesthesia. That policy was supposed to take effect in Missouri on February 1st. Well, a new bill in Missouri aims to make it harder to sell stolen catalytic converters. Thieves commonly steal these catalytic converters because specifically the rare minerals that they contain. Representative Tyson Smith's bill would require sellers to show proof they got the parts legally or sign an affidavit declaring it's not stolen. It would also add criminal penalties for anyone who buys the stolen parts. Well, you may spot some new digital billboards across the St. Louis area as you're out and about today. That's in an effort to find who shot and killed CBC hockey player Colin Brown. There's a $25,000 reward from Crime Stoppers for anyone who has information that helps police make an arrest. And then a St. Louis man, we actually spoke to him earlier this week here on the Marc Cox Morning Show. He added an additional $10,000 reward. That was his own money, by the way. Visitation for Brown was held last night, and then his funeral will be this morning at 10 o'clock at the Cathedral Basilica. It is 6:04 and 20 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. In sports, the Blues won 4-3 in overtime against the Calgary Flames last night. They have 2 more games in Canada, one tomorrow, another one Tuesday, and then they'll be heading back to St. Louis for a game against the Sharks on Thursday. Well, it came down to the last 2 seconds of the game for Thursday Night Football. The Lions beat the Green Bay Packers 34-31 thanks to a last-minute field goal, helping the Lions clinch a spot there in the playoffs. Well, the SLU men lost to the San Francisco Dons 78-61. Illinois' next game, that'll be tonight against Northwestern. Tip-off is 8 o'clock. And then Mizzou takes on Kansas Sunday. It is 6:05 and 20 degrees. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Things are moving okay. On 55, we've got some delays through this work zone that takes you from about Gasconade or down to Lindbergh up to Arsenal, either direction. You're seeing some lane closures and some ramp closures through the area, but not any big delays. We've got 64 moving well, 44, no problems. 170 southbound just approaching 64, a slight delay. 70 westbound as you approach 170, another delay. And 270 southbound, an earlier crash around 55, just cleared out of the way. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The official 97.1 FM Talk Weather Center forecast. Clear to partly cloudy and cold overnight. We'll reach an overnight low of 19. Not as cold for your Friday with sunshine and a few clouds. Friday we'll see a high of 41. Mostly sunny Saturday. Warmer Saturday we'll reach a high of 55. It'll be mild Sunday with some sunshine, then turning cloudy with a high of 59. I'm Drew Shannon for 97.1 FM Talk.
6:06 the time right now. We're at 20 degrees. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Listen to both sides. The bottom line is, I respect that we don't agree.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Just to find a voice.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
I don't know how to put this.
Marc Cox.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, it adds excitement, doesn't it, folks?
Heidi Harris on 97.1 FM Talk.
Always fun sitting in for Marc Cox. I'm pinch hitting today. I get paid to talk because Marc's voice is out. Happy to be hanging with two of my favorite people, Kim St. Onge and Carl, of course. And you know, it's the best morning crew in radio. All right, can we all be honest about that?
Heidi, who paid you to say that?
No, you know why? You know I love you guys. Carl, how much effort did I make to come see you when you were in Vegas? How much effort, buddy?
$20 and an hour out of your way to hang out with me for an hour.
Do you know how much I paid Kim to park my car for an hour and a half at the hotel in Las Vegas to see Carl at the pool?
$50.
$18 to park for an hour and a half.
I bet you wish I had said a lower number. So when you said 18, I was like, wow.
I know.
It's always sad, you know, when you're like, guess how much this was, and you're hoping that they guess something really exorbitant.
Right. Yeah. Still, I mean, Vegas used to have free parking, and now they're raising the rates again right before New Year's Eve. But we in Vegas, it used to be free, and we get really mad about that, especially for locals. But for Carl, it was worth going to see him.
Well, get this, Heidi.
By the pool. Yeah.
So the next day, I met with someone who used to work for the St. Louis Blues, but now works for the Vegas Golden Knights, and he is a vice president for the team. Okay. And I was staying at the Park MGM, which is next to T-Mobile Arena, which is their arena.
Correct.
He had to ask permission to park there to see me.
Wow.
It's weird because they're tenants in the building. They don't own the building. So he had to ask permission, or else he would have had to pay the same amount you did. And he works there.
Well, what's interesting, though, is how many people who were visiting Vegas would drive themselves. Are people really getting rental cars? Because I've never been to Vegas, but I feel like if you're going, there's likely to be a lot of drinking and other things where it would not be smart to get behind a car. So my guess would be that a lot of people driving would be locals.
And they drive crazily.
Well, you got to remember that we get millions and millions and millions of people coming up from California in their cars.
Okay, that's true.
Because it's only 3.5 hours, depending how fast you drive, 3.5 hour drive from LA and other places down there. So that's where a lot of traffic comes. And that's why they're charging a fortune. And locals don't want to go down and see a show or go to dinner. I had a friend who came to Vegas a while back, and she said, "Oh, let's get together. Let's have dinner. We're going to have dinner at Mon Ami Gabi, which is in the Paris Hotel. Oh, you want to come meet us?" I said, "No." "Oh, we're going to have dinner somewhere else. The next night." I said, "No." I said, "But I'll come pick you up and I'll take you to a local place, but I'm not paying the strip prices for food and drinks." And Carl, how much was your cocktail at the pool?
$50.
No, it was not.
Yes.
That must have been the best cocktail you've ever had.
Was
Did it have
just
gold flakes in it? What was it?
No, it was like a hurricane. It was a frozen hurricane.
Oh my gosh. I thought you were going to go
$15.
15. You 50,
Oh, no.
50.
Yeah, and
That's
there were 6 of
stupid.
us.
Oh my gosh. I'm angry about that.
Yeah,
But
that was
that's
crazy.
like Nashville. I used to live in Nashville, and people would not go, most people who live there do not go to Lower Broadway on a Saturday night.
Unless you're going for a bachelor
Unless
party.
you're going for a bachelorette party. And you always know the girls who are there who don't live there because they've got the cowgirl boots on and all the things because people who live there don't just go around wearing cowgirl boots.
This week in Vegas, the National Finals Rodeo is here. We love the Cowboys. Everybody in Vegas suddenly becomes a cowgirl, a cowboy, buys a pair of cowboy boots that are brand new and still hurting their feet just so they can look like cowboys for
Oh,
a
yeah.
week.
You gotta,
We
you
got
gotta, what was I going to say?
we
Fit
have.
the part.
I'm sorry. We have PBR here this weekend.
Oh.
Okay.
We do.
Fun.
Saturday and Sunday, PBR at Enterprise Center. I'll be working.
It's
the
so
lights.
great. And Clint Black's coming to. I love Clint Black. Oh my gosh, do I love Clint Black.
Family Arena. Tickets go on sale, I think, today.
When my husband and I drove across country, we were driving the truck through the mountains heading for, I think we were near Branson. And we were driving. And
was that your RV trip?
Yeah, we took our camper across country. So I'm driving through the mountains, checking out Branson. And what am I playing? Clint Black. So I tweeted about it. Guess what? He liked it. I don't know if he handles the social media or not, but isn't that cool?
Yes.
I love him.
Cool
I don't know who that is.
Country music artist.
Oh.
He's amazing. Well, Carl will play something that you'll recognize.
Well,
when
what
we
was
come
funny,
back.
have you seen everyone sharing their Spotify Wrapped for the year?
No.
No?
No.
It came out this week.
Yeah, Spotify puts together the top artists you listen to, the top songs, and it gets
Oh, okay.
kind of obnoxious with how much people share it. But it was really funny because I looked at mine and all the girls my age who were, mid-30s, it's like Taylor Swift and Beyonce and Sabrina Carpenter and whatever, Olivia Rodrigo, whatever her name is.
Yes.
My top artists are Phil Wickham, who's a Christian artist, Chris Stapleton, Morgan Wallen, Frank Sinatra, and Zach Bryan. I love me some Frank Sinatra. That's like probably one of the number one things I play. Anyway, it's just funny.
You're not
'cause
from Vegas.
it's
Okay,
just-
we're a little Frank and Elvis
I guess
down
I'm a
out
little
here.
older than my, the other girls who are not listening to that type of music.
Well, and they should be. I hear people driving around with some of this rap music where they're talking about bees and hoes and everything else, and I'm thinking, whatever happened to Nat King Cole? Is what I want to yell
like
at these
Nat
guys.
King Cole.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
know.
singers, actual singers. That's what I grew up listening to.
Oh, some of the songs are so cringeworthy. I can't even believe that somebody has the guts to sing about that.
I know. I don't get it either. But anyway, the society's dropping for a second. I got a lot of comments on my puppy. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, the short list.
The Marc Cox short list.
As we predicted, and as I said to all of you, if Donald Trump is elected, it will change the dynamic of the Russia war on Ukraine. And we're seeing that happen.
Well, that's why we voted for him. Thank you very much. We want something different besides shoveling money into Ukraine that goes where? We don't even know.
Crime Stoppers now offering $10,000 in rewards for information on the gunman. The New York Post also reporting that police obtained the suspect's Starbucks trash, so there may actually be some DNA.
Does that seem a little low to you guys? 10,000? That's like 1 month's rent in New York City. I mean, you got to up the ante if you want to get some of these people to talk, right? I'm just asking.
Kash Patel, counterterrorism prosecutor, understands the government. And if the FBI doesn't need to be cleaned out, what does?
Yeah, I agree with Lindsey Graham on that. Absolutely. Love Kash Patel. Love, love, love him.
I admire Mr. Musk. He's been involved in very important parts of American society. Yes, he's on a different team, but that doesn't make me an enemy.
He's going to be on the front loader team, getting rid of all the people we don't need. That's for sure. Good stuff. That's a Marc Cox short list this morning. All right, I posted. We're doing this live, of course, on 97.1 FM Talk. Where's this appearing, Mark? Where's this appearing, Carl? Is it
We are
appearing on YouTube?
Facebook, on the Marc Cox Show page.
Facebook Live.
And your Facebook page as well. We're
And
on
my
X,
Facebook page. Okay.
We're on Rumble, and we are on YouTube.
Okay, I'm going to pick up my dog. Hold on.
She sent Kim a picture of the dog earlier.
I'm going to pick her up again because
this the new
I
rescue
I
dog?
picked her up during the break, and a lot of people were commenting on the stream. Look at this little face.
Oh,
Isn't she cute?
She's adorable. You said her
Isn't
name
she-
is Lacey?
I named her Lacey. So here's the story about Lacey. She looks like a little, it's hard to tell in the picture. She's kind of a merle, like an Australian shepherd. She's got blue eyes. But she is, if you look at her body, she looks like an Italian greyhound. So she's kind of a weird mix. You know how I got her? Some jerk, and I'm cleaning that up for the air, dumped her and her brother in a cat carrier near my home a week and a half ago.
Oh.
That's how I got her. And her brother was absolutely adorable, and he looked more like a Schnauzer mix or a Yorkie mix, same color, merle color, but with a little Yorkie whiskers and whatnot. My friends took him. And he's just darling.
Is word on the street there in the Vegas area that you will take in these dogs? Because maybe people are realizing it, Heidi, and they're just any sort of a dog, cat, whatever the animal is that they don't want. They're like, hey, Heidi Harris, here's her address. Put the dog over there. She'll take the dog.
You know, I think somebody put the cage next to my neighbor's actually the one who found the cage. She found the dogs first and then let me know about it, and I went and picked them up. But I think somebody saw that there are dogs in the neighborhood that are well cared for, and maybe that's why they dumped them. I mean, listen, they could have dumped him out in the middle of the desert. You know, it could have been a whole lot worse. So I'm grateful that at least, we found her. And at this point, we still have her. Who knows? But anyway, quick break on the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Heidi Harris in for Marc Cox.
Heidi Harris on 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Things are starting to build. If you're traveling at 270 on your eastbound side around the river, you've got your southbound side right around Manchester, a slight delay, and then again at 44 and Gravois. On the northbound side, some slight delays around 44, and then again at Olive, you see a slight delay in that area. 64, no problems. East or westbound, no problems on 70 itself. 170 southbound approaching 64, some slowdowns, and 55 north and southbound between Arsenal and Gasconade. We've got some delays starting to build with the roadwork in that area. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for New Perspective Senior Living in Weldon Spring. This brand new facility offers state-of-the-art independent or assisted living and memory care, and now has holiday specials on select apartments. Visit npseniorliving.com or call today to schedule a free lunch to experience senior living redefined for yourself.
News that's on time. On your time. Download the Odyssey app and dip in whenever you want. And stay on top of what's happening. 97.1 FM Talk on the Odyssey app.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Triton Exteriors. If you're younger than me, you may not have ever really experienced truly great customer service. You will with Triton Exteriors. We're a James Hardy siding company. We have a huge color selection. We do fences. We do pretty much everything on the exteriors. We have a great reputation. We have tons, 800 positive online reviews with Angie's List. Great with the BBB. Call 314-717-1159 or book online at triton-stl.com.
This is Santa, and I'm going to be in the Defiance Christmas Festival Parade Saturday, December 7th. Food trucks open at 9 a.m. At 10 a.m., kids' activities, including a bounce house, along with live music from Clover and the Dashing Through Defiance 5K. Sign up at runsignup.com. Parade starts at noon right through downtown Defiance. Please, no Santa costumes. The kids come to see me. Following the parade, pictures with me, Santa, and a beer tent with live music at 1:30. No coolers in the park. That's Saturday, December 7th. Come and see me in Defiance. Ho, ho, ho!
I'm Brian Westbrook with Coalition Life. While we celebrate the reversal of Roe v. Wade, there is still much work to be done to support life and pregnant women before they cross state lines. Together, we can provide the love, support, and options that women need to choose life for their children. Coalition Life celebrates more than 3,500 clients served and thousands of lives saved since we began this mission with you. Each one is a miracle. Over the years, day in and day out, our team has walked alongside women facing the fear and challenges of an unexpected pregnancy. Through the support of this community, we have given them hope and a path to choose life for the children they carry. Visit coalitionlife.com to give your vital support while reducing or completely eliminating your state taxes through Missouri's 70% tax credit. Learn more at coalitionlife.com, coalitionlife.com.
Smashing his guitar at the end of every segment. Marc Cox. Heidi Harris on 97.1 FM Talk.
Oh, Clint Black. We love him. He's so great.
Coming to the Family Arena.
Yay! What night is that going to be?
Of course, you had to ask me that.
I'm sorry. I know it's
Well,
coming soon, though.
I'm actually going to the Family Arena tonight to see Swiftness in Taylorville.
Okay, wait a minute.
That
Okay.
sounds terrible.
Wait, Kim, we've got a problem here with Carl. Where's your man card? Can you grab it from him, Kim?
Mark would have given you a hard time about that.
It's
if he were here.
It's St. Nicholas Day, and my wife wants to go.
Your wife doesn't have any friends? See, my husband would have said, take a girlfriend. I'm not. What is it called again? Swiftness Christmas? What is it?
Swiftness, as in Swiftness in Taylorville.
How do they do that legally? Is she going to be like? There's going to be I don't know, a mock-up of her or something, because you know she's kind of busy with her tour.
Right. And Clint Black is April 12th at the Family Arena.
April 12th. Okay, get your tickets. I love it.
But I hear
Okay,
that
so-
this Swiftness in Taylorville is a fantastic, well-done show.
Okay, I'm going to ask a stupid question that I should know the answer to that maybe you guys do. Has Taylor Swift done Christmas music? Did I miss that?
Yeah.
Has she ever done any?
Christmas Tree Farm, and she did a version of Last Christmas. Yes.
Okay.
She has.
Okay, I missed it. All right.
I
I
believe
mean,
she
I'm
has
not a
an EP.
hater. All right. I mean, I like Swiftie. I'm not a total Swiftie, but I like some of her stuff. So you think she's going to marry Travis after this? And she's going to be 35 here pretty quick. They better crank out some kids if they're going to do it.
Next week.
Yeah, she's like a week or two older than me. Like a week.
Yeah. Well, better get on it there.
13.
35 years old. I think she and Trav get married. What do you think? You think my Chiefs, your Chiefs, everybody's Chiefs, you think they're going to make it to the Super Bowl again this year? And Lions are looking good. They looked great last night. They've been looking good all season.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know. I don't know if the Chiefs will. I mean, I feel they've only lost one game.
Yeah, to Buffalo.
I know,
Yeah.
but they barely win. That's the problem. They're not winning by big scores. So a lot of people are saying that they're not as strong as they were. I mean, I'm a huge fan, so I hope they get to the Super
Well, they have
Bowl.
a
The
Hallmark
Lions are
movie,
looking-
right? Isn't that a Hallmark
came out
movie
last week.
Yeah. Did anyone see that?
What? I
It's
don't watch
recorded
Hallmark.
at my
Was
house.
it so? I'm sure it was so cheesy.
But then Lifetime had one 2 weeks ago.
Was Patrick Mahomes?
Wait,
I mean,
wait,
were all
wait.
the key players in it? Travis Kelce? No. Okay.
No. I think Andy
There was
Reid
a good
in it.
documentary on Amazon Prime about Jason Kelce. Have you guys seen that one?
No.
That guy is just
Yeah, I don't-
so popular now.
Well, he is, and he seems like a class act of a human being. His wife is just darling. She looks a lot like you, Kim. His wife is just gorgeous and natural. You know how some people are just naturally pretty? They don't have 6 tons of makeup on. They don't need it. That's what his wife looks like. She's beautiful. And cute little kids. But it was a great story about him having to decide, whether to play another year and the injuries and the amount of, he's not whining about anything, but the amount of Tylenol things he has to take every
I'm
day just to
sure.
function. Because when you watch a football game and you see somebody, get tackled, like, a running back or something, you got 12 guys who fall on you who weigh over 300 pounds. I mean, I wouldn't get out of bed for a week.
Well, now you have the concern with CTE, as a lot of these kids
Yeah,
are playing younger
huge.
and younger, and I think parents are now weighing that decision. And you have flag football, but the decision whether to have the kids play tackle football at a certain age, I think more and more parents are getting concerned about that.
Yeah, it's a problem. I mean, there's a kid in my church. He's 7 now, just adorable. I had him in nursery because I take the little ones at church, and I've had him ever since then. And he's just a darling kid. And I actually have video of him trying to show me how to throw a football. You got to hold it by the laces and this and that. But his parents put him in baseball. They said, and he's very athletic. He always has been. So they put him in baseball. They said, we're not putting him in football.
Don't let him pitch. You don't let the wisdom is that you're not supposed to let if they're going to be a pitcher, you wait as long as you can before they can pitch so they don't destroy their arms when they're 10 or 12.
I get that, but then how do you have the practice? How are you a good pitcher if you wait a really long time before you actually start pitching?
You can pitch, but don't pitch like in games.
I still feel like you're
That's
not-
interesting.
I-
So are you?
I get the
Yeah.
logic behind that, but to me, as far as the arm goes, but it doesn't make sense when you're trying to become a better pitcher or better at anything, any position in a sport. The whole idea is practice, practice, practice. get experience doing it.
Yeah, I never thought about that. I mean, do you think that, Carl, that's related to the fact that their arm muscles haven't matured? Is that the logic behind that?
I don't know. My kid was never softball or baseball player, so that is just what I heard from other parents. And one friend of mine had a very specific. He's going to do this. He's going to do this. He's going to do this. And he played for Lindenwood. Their kid played at Lindenwood and did well as a pitcher.
Okay. Sometimes Patrick Mahomes, as you probably know, because his dad was a baseball player, was a great baseball player. And I guess at some point he chose football over baseball, but I guess he could have done either one professionally.
Wouldn't that be nice that you have the option of doing 2 sports potentially professionally? You're just that good of a, I guess, natural athlete. What's that
I think
like?
Tom Brady was too. Carl, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Tom Brady a natural athlete when it came to baseball too?
I'm not sure about that.
Caitlin Clark seems to be a natural athlete. I know she was out golfing and pretty sure she was with professionals and she held her own. I mean, obviously she's not going to be comparable to them, but considering she's a basketball player, I think she did pretty well.
Yeah. I wonder what kind of stipulations they have in their contracts. Certain things you can't do, jet skiing, snow skiing in the off season, whatever.
No
Certain things you're not
skydiving.
allowed to do.
Tom Brady
there was a funny story.
Baseball. I'm sorry. Tom Brady
Go ahead.
left baseball to play football at Michigan.
Okay, there you go. That's what I thought. There's a funny story about Joe Montana. Many, many years ago, Joe Montana was in Hawaii on vacation. I think they had lost the playoffs that year and he'd gotten injured. And so he was sitting in a restaurant and he had a cast or something on his arm. And the waitress came up to him and she didn't know who he was. And she said, "Oh, how'd you hurt your arm?" And he was probably, his 30s at that time? Something. She said, "How'd you hurt your arm or hand or something?" And he said, "Playing football." And she said, "Aren't you a little old to be playing football?" And she didn't know who he was.
Brady was drafted by
and
the
he said,
Expos.
"I probably am." Huh?
Brady was drafted by the Expos, and he said, "No, I'm going to play football."
That's what I thought.
That's
Okay,
why
I
they
thought there was a
call him the
story
GOAT.
behind it. What do you think of him in the booth, guys?
I've heard he's gotten mixed reviews.
He's overpaid and says too much.
It takes practice. That would be hard. It's probably one of those jobs that people who do it all the time, they make it look really easy. But if you had to do it, knowing the right
I couldn't
cadence
do
and
it.
the timing and what information to share, what not to share,
yeah.
that'd be hard.
Yeah, there's always a critic, right? I couldn't do it. I'll tell you that right now. I'm Heidi Harrison for Marc Cox.
The election is finally over. Now you can get the cash you need. This is James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. Did you know that today the average homeowner has over $200,000 in equity? Imagine what you could do with just $50,000 of that equity. Pay off your credit cards, do home improvements, or even pay off your auto loans. Golden Oak's mortgage rate is 5.25%. We have no fee to apply and no out-of-pocket costs. If you call today, you can get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments until next year. Don't forget our appraisal guarantee. If for any reason your loan doesn't close, we will pay for your appraisal. Call today and take advantage of our 5.25 fixed rate. But don't wait, this rate won't last forever. Call 314-567-GOLD. That's 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
6.19 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. 20 degrees now coming up on 631. We're still waiting on a decision from the Kansas City area judge on whether Planned Parenthood can begin offering abortions again in Missouri. Planned Parenthood argued in court on Wednesday that any bans on abortion in Missouri should be ruled unconstitutional after voters passed Amendment 3 in November. If the judge sides with Planned Parenthood, the clinic hopes to start offering abortions as soon as today at its St. Louis, Kansas City, and Columbia locations. Warning signs about radioactive soil are now up in North St. Louis County along Coldwater Creek following a years-long battle from the public. The Army Corps of Engineers put 80 signs along the 14-mile stretch of the creek. Senator Josh Hawley has been pushing for federal aid for families impacted by radioactive soil. He says these signs are long overdue. In sports, the Blues won 4-3 in overtime against the Calgary Flames last night. The Lions beat the Green Bay Packers 34-31 last night for Thursday Night Football, clinching him a spot in the playoffs. SLU men lost to the San Francisco Dons 78-61. Illinois plays Northwestern tonight at 8. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk.
Things are moving pretty decent out there. We do have a 70 on your westbound side around West Street. We've got a stall working in a right lane. Otherwise, things are looking okay on that roadway. 55 north and southbound, some delays that making your way through the work zone. And that's from about Gasconade to Arsenal, both north and southbound. Northbound side at 270, right around 64. A slight delay again around Manchester. Southbound side seeing delays around Olive, starting to build around Gravois, or 44 down to Gravois at least. No problems if you're traveling on 64 really coming out of downtown and into it looking good. 44 not a problem either, and 70 is moving along just fine as well as the rest of 270. And this report is sponsored by GL International Realty. Sell your home with trust, confidence, and written guarantees. Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed is Realty is St. Louis's real estate expert. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
It is already time to start planning for the holiday parties. And if I'm not hosting, I always try to just bring something that I can share with people there. And I'm telling you, one thing I know is always going to be a hit is a nice bottle of wine. If you've not tried Stonehill wines, just go to the store. If you're grocery shopping today, pick up a bottle and try it, because not only do Stonehill wines taste great, and I'm telling you this as someone who's tried both reds and whites from Stonehill, but there's a really cool backstory. So when you go to the holiday party and you have it with you, you can also share this story. It's this, the winery itself, Stonehill Winery, is right in Herman, Missouri. So this is somewhere you can actually go and tour and taste even more of the wines. It has the largest series of arched underground cellars in the country, which I think is really cool. This winery is even on the National Register of Historic Places. This is just a neat little part of Missouri's history. If you're a red fan like I am, well, I like both, but especially in the winter, I like red. Try Stonehill's Norton. The Hellbender Red's really great. My husband and I also have really enjoyed the Chamberson. But like I mentioned, whites are also fantastic. Stonehill even has a Hellbender Blanc if you're more of a white wine fan. If you need a Christmas gift for someone and you can't figure out what to get them, what about a membership to Stonehill's Wine Club? It's something simple and they can enjoy that year round. Thanks to our friends now at Lore Wine and Spirits, you can find Stonehill wines at basically any retail store in Missouri.
The Marc Cox Morning Show wants to hear from you, and telling us what you think is easier than ever. Open the Odyssey app to 97.1 FM Talk. Click on the microphone and leave Mark and Kim a message. It's that easy to share your take.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, igotfloor.com.
Tony LaRussa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Always giving you more. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Heidi Harris on 97.1 FM Talk.
One of my very favorite albums, Carl. I love the choice there. This album came out on this
Today.
date. What year? Today, what year was it? Doing 77
I'm
probably?
looking, I want to say
77.
76 or 77.
I think 77. Great, great, great album. I'm Heidi Harrison from Marc Cox, having a great time with my favorite morning people in the whole wide world. Marc is out today with his bad voice. He's feeling okay, but a bad voice and a radio host distracts the listeners, so he's taking the day off. Nicole Murray's here from This Morning with Gordon.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
It's Friday, so I am on that Friday pep right about now. What about you guys?
We're good. We're ready. Ready for the crazy weekend.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm so ready for it.
It's in the teens here, Nicole, so we're sending that your way.
Oh, we've already got crisp, cold weather over here. Don't you worry about it.
How cold are we talking? Because is it supposed to get into the single digits for wind chill here tonight?
Oh.
Yes, but it's going to be 50 tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. So that's why everyone's sick, because our immune systems are just going from 50 degrees to single digits and then back to 50.
When I woke up this morning, it was in the mid-20s. Okay, so not as bad, but cold. That's the point.
We're in the 20s now.
The hard thing is whenever it gets, the reason why our immune systems are also down is because more of us are eating junk. But when it gets this cold, we want all the comfort food, right? We want the big bowls of pasta and
mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Heidi, how warm is it in Vegas right now?
Oh, it's just like in the 50s during the day, and it gets down to a little, let's see, right now, it's going to be a high of 68 today. Sorry.
You poor thing over there.
And sunny. High of 68 and sunny. Sorry.
You had to add the sunny in just to rub it in our face a
right.
little bit more,
me.
Heidi.
Don't hate me.
Nicole, what's going on?
All right, so futures are mixed. Thursday, the Dow Industrials lost 248, the Nasdaq lost 34, and the S&P 500 down 11. A series of Florida-based food chains are expanding into Missouri. The Brass Tap, a craft beer bar, Beef O'Brady's, a family sports pub, and Nuke's Eatery, a sandwich, soup, and salad concept, are all brands under restaurant company FSC Franchise Company. The company plans to open 60 new locations of all 3 brands across 6 states, including Missouri, combined in the next 5 to 7 years. Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield has announced it will reverse the new policy that would have limited anesthesia coverage during lengthy surgeries after widespread backlash. The policy in Connecticut, New York, and Missouri would have forced patients to pay for the cost of anesthesia out of pocket if a medical procedure goes longer than expected. Build-A-Bear saw another record third quarter marked by the ongoing expansion of its footprint with more international stores on the horizon. CEO Sharon Price John said the company opened 17 new locations in the past quarter and is upping its target of 50 new stores to at least 65 for 2024. Today is Jobs Friday. It is the last batch of inflation data before the Federal Reserve's next meeting. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is expecting that non-farm payrolls increase by 214,000 in November. This would be a steep gain compared to the 12,000 jobs added in October. Data drops at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. The average rate on a 30-year mortgage in the U.S. eased again this week, slipping to its lowest level since late October. The rate dropped to 6.69% from 6.81% last week, and that's according to mortgage buyer Freddie Mac. And finally, a Japanese company has unveiled an invention, the human washing machine. Using artificial intelligence, the machine can clean and dry a person in just 15 minutes. The tech also includes stress and fatigue sensors that adjust the environment with relaxing visuals tailored to the user's physical and mental state.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm picturing going through the car wash with the little curtain that goes across your car.
The brushes.
Is this what we're talking about here? What is this, Nicole?
Picture a lounge chair that you lay down in, but it's like a pod. So basically you sit there and the machine, the pod around you, does all the work.
It's going to scrub all your privates and everything else. Huh? I mean, are they going to miss a spot if you're in a chair? I'm just asking.
It's artificial intelligence. They allegedly can do the whole thing from start to finish, keep you relaxed if you enter stressed. They'll try and relax you in the meantime.
The people around you who have to smell you might be able to tell if they missed a spot. But how much is this going to cost? Like $50,000?
They haven't released pricing yet. That's how new of an invention this is. But I would try it. I would bet you they wouldn't miss a spot, as easy as making sure all the body crevices are covered. That seems pretty easy for artificial intelligence.
Okay. I'm still picturing what Kim was talking about with the brushes and scrubbing and all that. What is it going to be, squirting water at you? You know how some people have those kind of showers where they squirt water at your face or all over your body? That's just weird to me.
Yeah, but you've never come home so tired, but you need to shower, and then you're like, I just don't have the energy. This is the solution.
What I need is someone to just wash my hair. That's why women don't want to have to shower, is because they don't want to wash their hair. So you just have to get in and wash your body.
Or shave, or exfoliate.
I'm sorry. I'm not on board with this. This seems a little odd that it's going to, are people going to do anything for themselves anymore? That's what I'm asking.
No, that's the long story short.
The answer is no.
We get into a machine that washes our body. That seems a little crazy. Well, we'll wait and see what the price is and whether it's worth it or not.
Thanks so much, guys. It was good to talk
Thank you,
to
Nicole.
you.
Appreciate it. You too. Stay warm there. I don't even understand this stuff. I don't get it. Hey, remember we were talking earlier, and you were mentioning this, Kim, about Anthem changing their tune on they were going to cut off the anesthesia if the surgery took too long.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who are online talking about the fact, and here's the interesting thing. The woman who runs Anthem used to run United. Okay. She previously held Brian Thompson's position at United Healthcare. And a lot of people are saying that this is the reason this policy was reversed, because remember, it came out the day after Brian Thompson was killed. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I think the ripple effect on this and on a lot of executives is going to be huge.
Maybe. I think there was just so much pushback, but I guess you're trying to insinuate there was so much pushback that people could be so angry about it that they'd be driven to want to, say, murder the CEO of Anthem.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think that once you see a CEO of a healthcare company murdered and you don't really know why yet, and you're getting a lot of pushback already from anesthesiologists and patients and everybody else, you might just want to go, might just want to tap the brakes on that just a bit, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
The woman's name is Gail Boudreau, who runs the company that used to, it's got a different name now. It's basically Anthem. But that's fascinating to me, because a lot of executives are going, wait a minute. There are consequences to what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You and I have said we have suspicions that this isn't necessarily related to that, the healthcare situation or denials or anything else, but a message has been sent of some kind to these folks that makes them nervous.
I think that was just to distract people, to lead them down that path of thinking this is somebody just angry about not getting coverage for a procedure. I don't think that's what is at play here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it's way too neat, and especially with the wife coming out and saying, well, the estranged wife who hasn't lived with them for a year, that's very important. Well, I think there were threats, and it might have been about coverage. Do you discuss that kind of stuff with your soon-to-be ex-wife? Does anybody? I'm still not buying that part of it.
I could see him discussing that with her, but I think...
If they have kids, maybe.
Maybe, but I think they also would have, as a precaution, reported it to local police, and police say they never received any reports. And then you would also hope that if he's by himself in New York on a business trip, that you'd have, even though it sounds like he didn't have to walk very far from his hotel to the Hilton where this investors meeting or whatever was taking place, you'd think they have at least one security personnel walking with him.
Well, you'd think so because of my understanding, and many stories are coming out about this. Some may turn out not to be accurate, but I saw one story where they said he did have security provided by the company with him at this event. They just weren't there with him at that morning. I guess they figured I can walk it's at 6 o'clock in the morning. What's going to happen? I can walk a few doors down. Crazy.
Wow.
But my question, once again, how did the shooter know that he would not have security? Well, maybe the shooter would have shot him anyway. I don't know. I don't know if the security was armed or anything else. But how would the shooter know he didn't have security with him?
This shooter must have been paid a ridiculous amount of money, because the fact that he was willing to do it in downtown New York City outside the Hilton at 6-something in the morning when there were other people walking right by him. Yeah. He's seen on surveillance camera, because we all know a ritzy hotel like that is going to have tons of cameras. So he must have had a lot of money being dangled in front of him to be willing to do that. It wasn't like he went to some alley. I mean, I know he was hiding in an alley, but it wasn't like he was waiting to grab him and take him in an alley where there was no chance that people would catch it on camera.
Right.
He
And there
didn't
was
care.
a woman, as you see, there was a woman there who witnessed the entire thing. And to my last I've seen, they've never found her. She has not come forward.
Well, also what's weird, these surveillance pictures that they've received saying that, I think it was the picture at the hostel where he's seen with his face mask down and he's smiling. And then you have the other picture, which I don't know if that one's from the Starbucks, but they almost seem like they're different pictures. People are talking about how the face doesn't look quite the same. And I know he had a mask on. I don't know.
I think it's the lighting. I think the lighting makes the jacket look darker in some pictures and lighter in other pictures.
Maybe.
And the backpack was pretty distinctive. And
yeah,
you know, like I said,
$600 backpack or whatever it was.
They're expensive. And even on eBay, if you try, I guess they don't make them anymore, according to the guy who runs Peak Design, the company. But you can get them on eBay they were designed originally. My understanding is for people who are photographers, because they have the little compartments inside of them that you can put with Velcro and, put your lenses in and whatnot. So it was distinctive. Not everybody would have that kind of backpack. It's not like your JanSport backpack like everybody has at high school or something.
Love JanSport.
I know, not bashing them at all, but this is a little bit more high end than that. But very interesting story. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Marc Cox.
Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com. Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
And from the Cordell and Cordell traffic cams, we're seeing some delays if you're traveling on 270, making your way southbound around 70 in Olive. Your northbound side hits the brakes around 44 up to Manchester. And the southbound side, we had a crash there at 55. That's been cleared out of the way. 55 itself, though, north and southbound. Between Lindbergh up to Arsenal, both directions, you're going to find spotty delays on and off because of the road work. 44, not giving you any issues. 64 is moving along fine in and out of downtown. 70 is also in decent shape. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
In Missouri, farming isn't just a profession, it's a purpose. You can feel it in our 27 million acres of farmland. You can see it in the nearly 41,000 Missourians who work in agriculture. You can hear it at our farmers markets. You can count it in the $93.7 billion it brings our state. And you can taste it at your family's dinner table. A lot of farmers in our state rely on Bayer's tools and inventions because Bayer has a purpose too, to help farmers thrive. Learn more at go.bayer.com/purpose, paid for by Bayer.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Count on Steel for Christmas cleanup made easy with the SEA 20 battery-powered handheld vacuum. Now just $99.99. Visit your local Steel dealer today or shop online at steelusa.com. Valid offer for a limited time, only at participating dealers while supplies last.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news.
The 2025 edition of Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest will air on December 31st on ABC, and it's going to be featuring performances by stars like Carrie Underwood, Lenny Kravitz, Megan Mahoney. Underwood is celebrating her 20 years since winning American Idol, so she's going to do a medley of her hits in Times Square. Other performers include Teddy Swims, Cody Johnson, and Thomas Rhett, and it's going to be co-hosted by pop star Rita Ora. And this is marking Seacrest's 20th year hosting this special. I did not know he's been doing it that long.
Wow. I wonder how long he's going to continue doing. How old? He can't be that old.
Seacrest?
He's got to be older than me.
He's got to be in his 50s.
Yeah.
Maybe he just looks really young. So he could be doing this for another easily 15 years.
Yeah. I mean, how long did Dick Clark do it for?
I was going to say Dick Clark did it till he was 90 or something.
I mean, he did it forever.
Yeah, why not?
Flavor Flav expressed disappointment after a security incident during the NBC's Christmas in Rockefeller Center taping. The rapper claimed he was escorted out of the Backstreet Boys dressing room, reportedly at NBC's request, after going backstage to visit the group. Flav, who worked with NBC as the U.S. women's water polo team hype man during the 2024 Olympics,
he was everywhere.
Later deleted his post, but shared that the experience left him heartbroken.
And also, Seacrest will be 50 on Christmas Eve.
Wow.
So he's 49.
There you go. He looks young because he is young. For heaven's sake, the guy is a kid, and he's the hardest working guy in showbiz, I think.
Going back to this Flavor Flav thing, remember that show, The Flavor of Love? And does he still wear that giant clock around his neck?
That's his thing.
Yeah,
okay, so he just wears that all
From
the time.
public
Like, he goes to the grocery store, he's wearing the clock.
Since the 80s.
All
Probably
right.
maybe even the 70s. I don't know when Public Enemy came out.
I don't even understand it.
Yeah, at least the 80s. Subaru has claimed the top spot in Consumer Reports' annual car reliability rankings, surpassing Toyota and Lexus, which have traditionally led the list. The rankings, dominated by Japanese automakers, feature Subaru, Lexus, Toyota, Honda, Acura, and Mazda. They are the top 6, with South Korean brand Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis also performed well, while American car makers lagged behind, with Buick ranking the highest at 11th. U.S. cars not doing well.
Well, quality, folks, quality.
Flava Flav is 65.
People don't care as much about quality these days. It just feels like that in general, not just with cars, but people want stuff to look nice. They want it to appear as though it is a quality product, but doesn't actually have to be.
No, I disagree with that. I would rather my car look ugly and last forever than You know what I mean?
See, you're logical, so you're not included in this
Well, I'm also
statistic.
poor, so.
No,
That's what poor
listen,
people
babe.
do.
I'm getting ready to roll over $225,000 on my
See,
car
there you
for
go.
20 years. I love my car, and I don't care. I'm not interested in impressing anybody with my car.
No, I
Doesn't
don't
matter
need
to me.
I'm one of with the cars. I don't care. I don't.
But you have a child, so you care about
Well, I
safety.
care about safety, and is
Yes.
there enough space for a car seat?
Yes.
Honda is recalling over 205,000 SUVs in the U.S., if I could talk today, due to a potential fuel leak issue that increases fire risk. The recall affects certain 2023 and 2024 passports and 2023 through 2025 pilot models.
Ethan, how are they going to let people know about this?
Well, Carl, they are going to send you something in early January.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
In the mail.
In the mail.
Well, that can make for a fiery Christmas if you don't get the memo in time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's why they're making this announcement now. But you don't know if your car's impacted for a month.
Good luck on this last month.
Wow.
What a joke. Why are all these cars getting recalled? I know this has been happening for years, but it
Every
seems as though
day.
every day there's a new recall, there's a new E. coli outbreak, new salmonella outbreak.
Oh, now they're saying those salads were tied to the McDonald's onions.
Are we going back to the onions thing again?
But we had an outbreak here in St. Louis, and a restaurant was unfairly
They were thrown under
maligned.
the bus.
I thought it was their lettuce.
But it was the lettuce, but it was the lettuce that came from the same place as the McDonald's tainted onions.
You know, I think that the stuff gets tainted because the people who pick it are going to the bathroom in the fields. And that's where they get the E. coli. Am I wrong?
I have no words.
Enjoy
Good
your
morning,
breakfast,
everyone.
everybody. Please wash your hands.
Yes, you should be washing your hands.
Let's end
no
on
matter
that
what.
note.
And-
Just let everyone, let that sink in for everyone.
And wash your lettuce. Thank you, Ethan Bright. Appreciate that.
Yes,
I'm Heidi
ma'am.
Harrison for Mark Cox.
Follow the show on Facebook, facebook.com/The Marc Cox Show.
Hi, Thomas Helbig here with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw. As a family business, we'd like to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We grew up right here in St. Louis, part of a large family, and that's what makes the holidays so special. The things we hold in our hearts, not in our hands. It's the people, family, friends, and the personal relationships that grow stronger with the passing of time.
In the past 38 years, we have become part of many lasting relationships, and we have made a lot of friends in and around St. Louis, and that just can't be taken away. So as we turn the page and put yet another year in the books, let's remember to be good to one another. And for those of you who may have lost loved ones, our hearts go out to you. Here's hoping next year will bring even more joy and blessings to all of you. And remember the important things to be thankful for. So once again, from all of us at the Retirement Advisory Group, and from our family to your family, we'd like to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
We've been hearing so long about government mandates all these years. It's coming true unless something changes this year yet. Then maybe it could be stopped. If not, homeowners, if you need an air conditioner, if your air conditioner is old now, get the equipment that you can still get before they say you can't have it. Not to scare you, they scared you. I'm just saying the equipment we have right now, unbelievably better than what you have because your equipment's 15 or 20 or 30 or 40 years old. So if you're looking and if your system's that old or if people are saying it's old and you new, I'm not going to waste your time. But if you call me, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois, the easiest of numbers. All right. So it's not the easiest. I have forgotten the number, even as many times as I put it up. But 314-293-2600 or go to the internet, bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's day 3 of the manhunt in Manhattan. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, searching for the masked gunman who murdered the CEO of United Healthcare.
Police appear to be closing in on the identity of the man suspected of gunning down 50-year-old Brian Thompson Wednesday morning outside a New York City hotel.
That's Fox's Chanley Painter. She says they've unmasked him in surveillance videos and...
Police sources revealing to Fox they have a cell phone they believe was dropped by the suspect near the scene with fingerprints. And we are also learning the suspect arrived in the city more than a week ago on a Greyhound bus before checking into a hostel in the Upper West Side, using a fake ID and paying in cash.
We have a motive in Wednesday's shooting at a California private religious school that wounded 2 boys, aged 5 and 6. The gunman who killed himself left writings behind saying he took action because of what he calls Israel's genocide in Gaza. Butte County Sheriff Corey Honey says the kids remain in critical condition.
They have a very long road ahead of them in terms of recovery. It's very likely that they are going to have a number of surgeries.
President-elect Trump has a new nominee to help carry out his planned mass deportation of illegal immigrants. He's nominated Rodney Scott as Customs and Border Protection Commissioner. He also wants Caleb Vitello to be acting ICE director, heading up Customs and Immigration Enforcement.
Immigration and the border and stopping our country from being invaded, because this was a massive invasion of our country.
President-elect Trump at last night's Fox Nation Patriot Awards. He was honored as Patriot of the Year. Trump Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth vows not to back down amid sexual misconduct and other allegations, telling reporters he's a changed man.
This will not be a process tried in the media. I don't answer to anyone in this group. None of you, not to that camera at all.
Syrian rebels keep taking over more towns in a resurgency during Syria's civil war. They're moving closer to Homs, the 3rd largest city in Syria, after already taking much of Aleppo and Hama. America's listening to Fox News.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Good morning, I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. 20 degrees now at 7:03. Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield says it's no longer moving forward with its controversial new policy to limit insurance coverage for anesthesia following massive pushback. The insurance company says the change was part of an effort to make healthcare more affordable by reducing overbilling for anesthesia. That policy, by the way, was supposed to take effect in Missouri on February 1st. A new bill in Missouri aims to make it harder to sell stolen catalytic converters. Thieves commonly steal these catalytic converters because they have rare minerals that they contain. Representative Tyson Smith's bill would require sellers to show proof that they got the parts legally, or they have to sign an affidavit declaring it's not stolen. This bill would also add criminal penalties for anyone who buys the stolen parts. You may spot some new digital billboards up in the St. Louis area as you're out and about this morning, and that is in an effort to find the person who shot and killed CBC hockey player Colin Brown. So Crime Stoppers put up $25,000 as a reward for anyone who has information that helps police make an arrest. And then we spoke with a gentleman, a local St. Louis man, who offered up $10,000 of his own money as an additional reward. Visitation for Brown was held last night. His funeral will be this morning at 10 o'clock at the Cathedral Basilica. It's now 7:04 and 20 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. In sports, the Blues won 4-3 in overtime against the Calgary Flames last night. They have 2 more games in Canada, the first one tomorrow, the next one Tuesday, and then they'll be heading back to St. Louis for a game against the Sharks on Thursday. Well, it all came down to the last 2 seconds of the game for Thursday Night Football. The Lions beat the Green Bay Packers 34-31 thanks to that last-minute field goal, clinching them a spot in the playoffs. For basketball fans, SLU men lost to the San Francisco Dons 78-61 last night. Illinois' next game is tonight against Northwestern. Tip-off is at 8 o'clock, and then Mizzou takes on Kansas on Sunday. 20 degrees now at 7:05. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
From the Cordell and Cordell traffic cams, we're seeing some delays on 270 as you make your way northbound. This is past 44 up to about Manchester. Your southbound side, pockets that go from Olive down to 64, and then more pockets from 44 down to Gravois, and another one around 55 at 55 work zone between Gravois and Lindbergh and up to Arsenal, both directions. You're going to see some on and off delays. 64 westbound from Kings Highway over to Big Bend. Eastbound side builds just a little bit around 170 to about Big Bend. 170 southbound approaching 64, and nothing on 70 either direction. And the rest of 270 is looking pretty sharp. No problems on 44 to report. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Not many window companies do egress windows. Those are the ones used in basements or floors with no emergency exit. GHRcontracting.com. We offer same-day install and financing 0% for 18 months, and there's no hassle with price negotiation. Get an upfront quote on the phone. GHRcontracting.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The official 97.1 FM Talk Weather Center forecast. Clear to partly cloudy and cold overnight. We'll reach an overnight low of 19. Not as cold for your Friday with sunshine and a few clouds. Friday we'll see a high of 41. Mostly sunny Saturday. Warmer Saturday we'll reach a high of 55. It'll be mild Sunday with some sunshine, then turning cloudy with a high of 59. I'm Drew Shannon for 97.1 FM Talk.
Coming up on 7:07, we're at 20 degrees right now if you're just leaving the house. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by simply downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
I want to compliment your show on how fair and level-headed everything you guys talk about.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
Maybe what we need from a conservative standpoint is
the Marc Cox Morning Show.
I respect that we don't agree. Listen to both sides.
This,
let's get it on,
is the Marc Cox Morning Show. Heidi Harris on 97.1 FM Talk.
Always a privilege sitting in for Marc Cox. He's recovering from his voice being kind of a little froggy today, but he'll return on Monday hanging with my favorite people. You guys really are my favorite people in the radio business. Of course, Carl and Kim and Trent's in today. And thanks for putting up with me, guys. I love being with you guys.
We're happy to work with you again. It's been a while.
Kim's the only person that is supposed to be here.
And
are you supposed to be off?
What? Well, no, it's that Sue's off. Mark's off.
Okay.
And it was just, Trisha and I were talking last night, and we're like, wait a minute, who's normally in the room on a Friday? And Kim's, I wasn't talking about myself because we were talking about everybody else. But we're happy to have you.
Well, listen, it's always fun. I love hanging out with you guys. Let's get to the Marc Cox short list, and then we've got much more to get to on the Marc Cox Morning.
The Marc Cox short list.
I admire Mr. Musk. He's been involved in very important parts of American society. Yes, he's on a different team, but that doesn't make me an enemy.
Well, that's good because the guy's a genius. Whether you like him or not, the man's a genius. You might just want to go along to get along with this one.
Kash Patel, counterterrorism prosecutor, understands the government. And if the FBI doesn't need to be cleaned out, what does?
True. And I think he's going to sail right through the Senate confirmation.
Crime Stoppers now offering $10,000 in rewards for information on the gunman. The New York Post also reporting that police obtained the suspect's Starbucks trash, so there may actually be some DNA.
10,000 seems a little low as far as I'm concerned for a case that's making national news. 10,000, that's nothing in New York City.
As we predicted, and as I said to all of you, if Donald Trump is elected, it will change the dynamic of the Russia war on Ukraine.
Yeah, as it's supposed to. That's why we elected him. Let's go back for a second to that reward. You know, Kim, makes you wonder, why isn't the company ponying up? $10,000. If my CEO just got killed, the guy made $10 million a year, or as a CEO, he just got slaughtered in broad daylight. You think the company would pony up, I don't know, 10 grand, 20 grand, 100 grand to find out, what's going on? Somebody will come forward with a certain amount of money, I'm sure.
Well, maybe the company has something to do with it, considering the allegations of
you.
Insider trading.
Who said that? I'm not paranoid. Yes, you're funny. You're right, though. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, isn't there?
There's some weird stuff. The fact that the wife came out just hours after the murder and is saying, there had been some threats, something about not being covered, and they're angry about that, but I don't know any other details. That's weird to me.
Right. There was that. There was the DOJ investigation, as you mentioned, that he was aware of last year, October 23. He was aware of, and others were aware of, and then they sold a bunch of stocks.
$15.1 million worth of stocks, and that was right before this whole antitrust debacle came out with the DOJ.
Yeah, and there were people or possibly, thinking that they were surmising that he might roll on some others, maybe the government. We don't know. I mean, it sounds like a lot of people would have benefited from his death. I hate to say that because the man had a family, and I'm not gleeful at all that he was killed. But when somebody has their tentacles in so many things, you just don't know.
It's true. There's more to come on this. I mean, they keep talking about the evidence this guy left behind, the shooter, where the water bottle he threw away in Starbucks, and he paid with cash at the hostel. He was stupid enough to take down his face mask, so security cameras got a clear shot of his face smiling.
Yeah, that was
this guy
crazy.
made some serious mistakes. Supposedly flirting. Left a burner. I'm assuming the phone in the alley was his burner phone.
Right. Did it have fingerprints? We don't know. I mean, was he brought down by a coffee cup? This is turning into a Forensic Files episode. They're digging a coffee cup out of the trash can. We don't know. I mean, crazier things have happened. Can you imagine somebody pulling off something like this? And usually they're brought down by something so silly.
Yeah, like a simple mistake they made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think pulling his mask down and flirting with that girl at the hostel could be the end of this guy. Really, because they've got all this facial recognition software. If he's on the internet anywhere, on Facebook or anything, I mean, you don't know what name he's real. I guess he used a fake ID at the hostel. You don't know. We don't know any of this.
Mm-hmm.
But you can lie all day long about your name, and the facial recognition will find you.
Especially if he has a criminal record. But this guy looked like he'd shot a gun before, but it didn't look like he had any experience assassinating people, doing murder for hires. This looked like a first-time gig for him.
Why do you say that?
How willing unless he had some exorbitant amount of money, which maybe that is what the situation is. It seems like he made so many mistakes that if someone is doing this for other people, you would just know not to leave certain things, not to go to take your face mask down, not to interact with people. He did it in broad daylight, downtown New York. Just like 5 blocks away from Rockefeller Center. This was a highly populated area. People were walking by, literally, and that word literally, I probably say too much, but literally people were walking by as the guy was shooting them, watching it unfold.
Well, there was one woman for sure who was kind of hiding when she saw what was happening, kind of hiding in the doorway, and then she's taken off, and I've not heard that they've talked. Now, maybe the police have talked to her. Remember, the police are not telling all of us everything they know.
Right.
And maybe they've talked to her. Well, what could she say? A guy walked up and shot him. The only thing she could verify was whether or not there was any conversation. I'm going to go with no, because he didn't turn around and look at the guy. He just fired on him.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the words they found, deny, defend, depose, which people, I guess, use to talk about insurance companies and how they make it really
Well,
difficult.
it's a title of a book.
Right. It is
Yeah,
a title of a
right.
book, and I'm sure there's more interest in that book. I think that's just a way to confuse people, to throw people off the track and to think that that's why it is some angry person who's mad about coverage, but it's something very different. Whether it has anything to do with the estranged wife, some personal matter he was dealing with, some business dealings that were a little sketchy. Maybe he was into those. I'm not trying to make allegations against him or whatever he was doing. I'm just saying
the
you have to
DOJ
at
was
least
looking
consider
into
that.
it. So, yeah. Right. Well, this book's called, I believe, called Deny, Delay, Defend. And yeah, to the point where the wife's, well, it could have been, I don't know. I mean, why would anybody who was an assassin etch anything onto a shell casing? Why would you do that?
To throw off
I can't
the
imagine.
scent.
Exactly.
Exactly right. Red herring, red herring, red herring. All right. So we'll see. It's a fascinating case for sure. All right. Coming up, there has been a settlement reached. Remember the 14-year-old St. Louis area young man, Tyree Sampson, who died in March 2022 by falling out of a ride in Orlando? There's been a settlement reached. You're not going to believe the number. Coming back. I'm Heidi Harrison for Marc Cox.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
And we've got some delays if you're headed on 270 on your northbound side. Really, this is around 44, another one around Manchester, and then you've got a delay that goes past Olive or Dorset area. Southbound side hits the brakes around Olive and pockets down to Grabois. You've got 64 east and westbound. Just a westbound delay that goes from Kings Highway over to Big Bend on your eastbound side. It's the brakes around Lindbergh. Pockets over to Big Bend as well. 55 north and southbound road work through the delays, or make that delays through the road work, and that's from Arsenal down to about Lindbergh. Back north and southbound are going to see that delay, but 44 is moving fine, and not any big delays on 170, both north and southbound. Pretty clear. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
When the radio is away, 97.1 can still play. If you have the Odyssey app, of course. Listen to any of your favorite hosts on 97.1 through your phone. On St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Honey, bags are packed and in the trunk. Is the car good to drive to Mother's holiday dinner?
Yes, dear. Car's good. We have Ox Car Care for their extended car service plan. Ox covers our repair bills if anything happens. We have no worries if any problems come up on our holiday travels. Ox Car Care has our back.
I remember. Ox has flexible coverage plans that can protect issues with engine, transmission, brake systems, and so much more.
Yep, we don't pay. Ox pays. Ox gets it fixed for us. Joe at the auto shop says Ox Car Care pays them directly, and there's no complicated paperwork. Ox is A+ rated, with already millions of dollars paid out in claims.
Right. They handled our claim from start to finish, unlike those other companies. Good call. The last thing we need is an unexpected car repair bill this holiday. The only thing now is, which pie is Aunt Martha making?
Drive with absolute peace of mind this holiday season. Call Ox Car Care for your free quote. 800-296-3315. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox today. 800-296-3315. 800-296-3315 or oxcarcare.com.
Hey, Stewie, I have a lot of friends who can't save money in this economy right now, but they're looking to buy a house. Is it even possible right now?
You know what, Annie? You can buy a house. There are young folks out there, people that are hardworking. They just don't have enough money in their savings account to do it. We have 100% financing, no down payment. You heard it right. 100% financing, no down payment. Couple that with the bagel loan, no closing costs. You can get the house of your dreams with little or no money. This is a real opportunity. You can close in 10 days. Be aware, as the rates drop, there's going to be more competition. So now, no money down, bagel loan, no closing costs, close in 10 days. Big bam boom, you got the house of your dreams, and you beat everybody else out. As the rates drop, there's going to be more competition. Right now, we have that rate drop. Take advantage now. Get that home. You have your own place before you know it.
Trust me when I say you are in the best hands with Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage. Call or text him today, 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a truck accident, you need the best. Onder Law, voted 2023's best law firm in St. Louis. Our attorneys will hold truck drivers and owners accountable. We stand up to big trucking companies to get you the compensation you deserve. Let us make your case our cause. Truck accident? Call Onder Law today for a free review. 314 or 618-9-million. That's 314 or 618-9 all zeros.
The gloves are off. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. Heidi Harris on 97.1 FM Talk.
Good morning. Always a privilege sitting in for my buddy Marc. He is out today because his voice is shot, but he'll be back on Monday, I promise, hanging with a couple of my very favorite people in the business. We are pleased to be joined, as we are every Friday, by Jim Carafano from the Heritage
I was
Foundation.
born in the South Bronx.
Oh, I love that. That's great. How are you, Jim? Nice to have you again on the Marc Cox Morning Show.
I want to meet your parents because they gave you the best name ever.
What, my name?
I mean, you could do you could do anything with that name. You could be a tennis player, you could be a movie star, you could be a CEO. It's just got this great alliteration. It's just like this sounds like a cool person. I mean, your parents did well by. I mean, well, it's true. I don't know about you, but they're great. I love them. I don't even know who they are.
Well, thank you. And my father and my mother are great people. My father's passed, but
sure.
they were fabulous people. Thank you. That's very nice of you to say. Oh, yeah, they thought Heidi went with Harris, so there you go. Let's talk a little bit about let's talk a little bit about Pete Hegseth. I understand his name has now been submitted for an FBI background check. What's going on with that? What do you think? What's your guess?
I'm feeling pretty confident. First of all, I've known Pete for a very long time. I have all the confidence in the world that he would be a great Secretary of Defense. And this is not just coming from somebody with 25 years in the military, but as you know, a long career as a military historian, spent a lot of time studying past SecDef. I spent a lot of time helping people prepare who wanted to be SecDef. I think Pete really has the tools for the job. And I really think he's the voice we want now. He is a patriot. He is a strong leader. He's everything we really want to tell the world this is who we are. And when we want men and women, I could just see this guy in an auditorium with a bunch of high school kids telling them why military service is an honorable thing. And, we look at these ratings of institutions, and the military for many years was the most respected institution in America. And then it dropped significantly under Obama and Biden. I think that 6 months after Pete Hegseth's SecDef, Americans' respect for the American military will be as high as it ever was. Look, it's just numbers, right? He can afford to lose 3 votes in the Senate. I don't think he's going to lose 3 votes in the Senate.
Let's just say that he ends up dropping out, and I know the name Ron DeSantis has been floated as a possible replacement for Hegseth. If that's not what happens, and it is Hegseth, do you see DeSantis having any other role in Trump's cabinet?
Well, I mean, I think the cabinet's probably all going to go through. I don't really see any big. I don't even think Tulsi Gabbard's going to have a problem in the end. So, the one thing I love about, I'm a conservative. I'm not a Republican, but the one thing I love about the crop of conservative leaders in the United States, once you get past Donald Trump, is age-wise, they've got a lot of runway left. So I think they're all great, to be honest with you. And so I think they all have long, fruitful careers ahead of them in public service. And I think Ron DeSantis is at the top of that list.
Absolutely. We're speaking with Jim Carafano from the Heritage Foundation. I'm Heidi Harrison from Marc Cox. A question I have is, and it's been talked about, but I'm not sure if Trump will go through with it. I would love to see everybody who's transgender out of the military, not because I don't like transgender people. It's not that. It's because you're not prepared to go to war or really fulfill your duties. If you're having surgeries and medications and all these things, that's not the place for it in the military. I think they should all be medically discharged honorably, but medically discharged day one. Do you think that would happen? Are you, do you support that? Or you may not want to give your personal opinion on that,
I think it'll happen. I think it'll happen. And two, I absolutely support it. I tell people I was in the Army with a great young captain who is a brilliant leader and a wonderful guy. And we went to the field once and he got sick as a dog. And it turned out he was hyper allergic to poison ivy.
Okay.
And they chaptered him out of the Army. It's like,
right.
Dude, you can't, we can't be in the middle of a war and you come down with poison ivy, right? So if you're transgendered, you are taking hormones and your health is dependent and actually quite fragile in a lot of things. You're not deployable. Now,
that's right.
I understand we have some people in uniform who are not deployable, but the notion of consciously recruiting people who are not deployable is wrong. it was always wrong, and it was always about that issue, not about whether you like transgender people or you don't or whatever. That I understand. We've kind of nobody. And look, I was like that when I was in the we didn't have gays couldn't serve openly in the military when I was in the military, and the people asked me, well, what do you think about gays in the military? I was like, dude, if you don't think there have been gays in the military.
Right.
You're just a nut. I mean, I served with I graduated with people who were gay. Nobody cared, to be honest with you. They cared if you could do your job. And look, you put a uniform on, nobody sees a man, a woman, a Sikh, an African-American, a Jew. All they see is a uniform. And when they go to they want, like, that uniform needs to deliver for me. And that's all they really care about. So when we start crafting these special things for special people, we're destroying the very essence of what military service is. It's putting on a uniform and serving your country. It's not representing transgenderism. It's not having gay pride parades. It's not having drag queen shows at the officers club. So you can show this notion that diversity is strength is just stupidity.
I agree.
We have diversity in the military because we need people to serve in the military, not because it's some unique strength. It's just nuts. And, diversity didn't win World War II. People that could fight and die and bled won World War II. And when we start taking this nonsense thing that has nothing to do with military efficiency, nothing to do with public service, nothing to do with selfless service, and we make that more important than the actual job that you're doing, you have destroyed that thing. And sure, you can do that with anything. You can do it with Amazon. You can even do it in government. But when you start doing it with firemen and policemen and cops and the people that defend you, you are pushing the big self-destruct button on your civilization.
Amen. Jim, I wanted to switch gears and ask you about what's going on in South Korea, because you have the president who declared martial law, then went back on it, right? Because Congress said, no. Now they're talking about trying to impeach him. What's going on? What's your take?
Well, having served in South Korea and spent a lot of time with, politics is different in South Korea. But there's an object lesson here. It's not just about South Korea; it's about everywhere. It's like, and why democracy is so important in the end. No democracy is perfect. Every democracy has issues, but the ultimate check is when people can actually vote and make a choice in the end. They preserve the system from going off the rails. And when you lose that ability to actually have the voice of the people heard, and this applies to South Korea and a lot of other things. In the United States, this is a perfect example. If you have a system where the leaders can run the country into the ground or do something that's just beyond the pale, and they still never pay a price for it, that's when you're in danger of losing democracy. So, like most things in South Korea, there's probably a lot of sides to this story. But I think South Korean democracy is actually pretty resilient. It's imperfect, but there'll be a democracy in South Korea tomorrow, and they'll get through this because they've been through this kind of stuff for decades. So they'll be fine.
Yeah, that makes sense, and they're not putting up with it. That's for sure. Jim Carafano, Heritage Foundation. Thanks for being on the Marc Cox Morning Show, and I'm glad to have been here to talk to you today. Always fun.
You're the best. Happy holidays.
Thank you. You too. Appreciate that. I'm Heidi Harrison for Marc Cox.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Local news can come at you fast. Want the latest on what's happening in your backyard? Download the free Odyssey app. Follow your local news station, and you'll get alerts on the top stories making headlines in your city. You can stay in the know, no matter what you're up to, and be among the first to find out when news breaks. Plus, keep tabs on weather and traffic, so you're never caught off guard. To get started, download the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY, and follow your local news station.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The official 97.1 FM Talk Weather Center forecast. Clear to partly cloudy and cold overnight. We'll reach an overnight low of 19. Not as cold for your Friday with sunshine and a few clouds. Friday we'll see a high of 41. Mostly sunny Saturday. Warmer Saturday we'll reach a high of 55. It'll be mild Sunday with some sunshine, then turning cloudy with a high of 59. I'm Drew Shannon for 97.1 FM Talk.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. 20 degrees now at 7:30. We're still waiting on a decision from the Kansas City area judge on whether Planned Parenthood can begin offering abortions again in Missouri. Planned Parenthood argued in court this week that any bans on abortion in Missouri should be ruled unconstitutional after voters passed Amendment 3 in November. If the judge sides with Planned Parenthood, the clinic hopes to start offering abortions as soon as today at its clinics in St. Louis, Kansas City, and Columbia. Warning signs about radioactive soil are now up in North St. Louis County along Coldwater Creek following a years-long battle from the public. The Army Corps of Engineers put 80 signs along the 14-mile stretch of that creek. Senator Josh Hawley, as you know, has been pushing for federal aid for families who have been impacted by the radioactive soil. He says the signs are long overdue. In sports, Blues won 4-3 in overtime against the Calgary Flames last night. Lions beat the Green Bay Packers 34-31 in the last seconds of the game for Thursday Night Football, clinching them a spot in the playoffs. SLU men lost to San Francisco 78-61. Illinois plays Northwestern tonight at 8. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
We've got delays out there making your way on 270 on your northbound side. Heavy going around to 44 up to Manchester. Your southbound side hits the brakes around Olive, another pocket around 64, and then another one as you pass Graboy. 55 north and southbound. Some delays through the work zone, and that is going from Lindbergh up to Arsenal and back down again. Westbound side of 64, still going Kings Highway to Big Bend. Eastbound side from 170 over to Big Bend delays. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
This is the time of the year when it's cold and I'm just in the mood to curl up on the couch with a blanket and a glass of wine. In fact, my husband was texting me during the show talking about how it would be a good night for a fire, maybe a glass of red wine. My go-to wine has been Stonehill, and some of you may know the name Stonehill because it's a winery right here in Herman, Missouri, so you can actually go tour this. And what's really cool about it is if, say, you brought a bottle to a holiday party, there's a cool backstory. Stonehill is Missouri's oldest and also most awarded winery. In fact, Stonehill's Cross J. Norton wine, which is fantastic, by the way, I've had it, beat out 235 other wines in this Missouri wine competition this year, and it ended up winning the Governor's Cup. That's a big deal. I had some of Stonehill's Ozark Hellbender the other night. It's this dry red wine. In fact, I was talking to Ethan Bright this morning, and he was saying that that's his favorite wine from Stonehill. Let me just read you the description of this wine, okay? This is from the website. It says, a super smooth red blend boasting aromatics of blueberry, blackcurrant, roasted vanilla, a smoky chocolate note, and a touch of black pepper. I know it's not acceptable to drink at 7:33 in the morning, but does a glass of wine like that sound fantastic right now? Yeah. If you want to try a Stonehill wine, grab a bottle if you're heading to the grocery store today. You can find Stonehill wines at virtually any retail store in Missouri. Brought to you by our friends at Lore Wine and Spirits.
The Trump presidency is coming into focus. Keep it here for every twist and turn, because the updates are happening fast. 97.1 FM Talk. The vision and strategy for 2025 is here.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman with ClaymanGroup.com, KLAMEN Group.com, where we buy houses direct and as is condition. Did you just inherit a house and you're not sure what to do with it? Maybe it's got a lot of stuff in there and you're really not sure what to do with the stuff and how to sell the house. Well, we do a lot of work with people that inherited property. We're very familiar with the probate courts. So if you have a house you just inherited, please reach out today. We'd love to make you an offer and simplify your real estate situation. KLAMEN Group.com.
Hey, it's Marc Reardon for New Perspective Senior Living in Weldon Spring. This brand new facility offers state-of-the-art independent or assisted living and memory care, and now has holiday specials on select apartments. Visit npseniorliving.com or call today to schedule a free lunch to experience senior living redefined for yourself.
The helm is in good hands. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. Heidi Harris on 97.1 FM Talk.
Always a privilege sitting in for Marc Cox to some of my very favorite people in the radio biz. I know. Carl's here. Kim's here. Trent's here. Always a great time with you guys. We've got Kim on a whim here. She's been on a whim this morning. This whole morning she's been on a whim.
I know. I was going to say the next segment, I want to talk about what's going on with Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yes, I can't wait to hear about that. So we'll talk about that coming up in just a moment. Wanted to mention, remember Tyree Sampson? This is the 14-year-old boy who fell out of a ride in Orlando, Florida. Of course, he's from the St. Louis area. Remember that whole story, how tragic that was?
It's not a Disney or a Universal ride. This is one in their downtown area on iDrive.
Yes.
It's like it's a giant carnival ride.
Have you ever been? I'm one of those kind of people who likes the carnivals they throw up on a street corner.
Yeah.
And the more stoned those operators look, the more I like it because I'm weird like that.
Unless,
no, but here's the thing, and I'm not going to try the case here. There's now been a settlement reached. His parents not a settlement, but a jury has decided his parents should split $310 million as a result of him falling out of this ride because of various things. The ride manufacturer was sued, a company called Funtime. This is the Free Fall was the name of the ride. This is the Austrian-based company that made this, manufactured it. German company called Gresslauer Amusement Rides, which apparently was responsible for designing and inspecting the rides, seats, and harnesses. It was a tragic situation. Like I said, I'm not going to try the case and get into all that here. But when I look at this case, and I remember when it first happened, my first thought was, this kid shouldn't have been on the ride. He was too big to be on the ride. And nowadays, people want to ignore basic biology. I mean, so many people are so big now that certain things just are not designed for people of that size. This kid, 6 feet tall, 14 years old, 380 pounds.
So he weighed more than 100 pounds beyond the ride's 285-pound limit.
Right. And I'm guessing, and I wasn't there, but I'm guessing they just didn't want to make him feel bad or something. And apparently some seats were manually altered to allow larger people to get on the ride, even though they weren't properly secured because the ride wasn't supposed to hold somebody that big. So, you hear these ads for fat shaming and things like that. When you go to the doctor, what's the first thing they have you do?
Weigh you.
That's right. You get on a scale. You go to the vet. You take your dog to the vet. Before the vet sees your dog, the first thing you do is you put your dog or cat or whatever on a scale. And why? Because, well, all kinds of reasons. But when it comes to pets, they want to make sure they give you the right amount of medication or whatever if you need to, or whatever the situation is with people. They need to know, is that weight comparable to what it was the last time they weighed you? I mean, this is obvious. No one's shaming anybody. They need to know that information. And they put this kid on the ride, as fat as he was, and it didn't hold him. It broke my heart. Terrible story.
I always find it interesting how they decide the amount that people are given in these lawsuits. Not even just talking about this one. I mean, $310 is a lot, in my opinion. I can't imagine going through what those parents are going through right now, losing your son. Nothing's going to bring him back. Somebody has to be held accountable. And a lot of it is setting the precedent that, you have to take responsibility for making sure your ride is safe. However, if it was a weight issue, it seems like it's a moot point. But think back to like the Starbucks. Wasn't it the Starbucks lawsuit years ago with the hot cup or whatever?
McDonald's, I think.
McDonald's. Okay, I don't want to hate on any company.
They've all been sued for
They've
that.
probably all been sued. You're right. Some of these cases where they're awarded this money, I'm thinking, really? Like, how did you decide that was the right amount of money? Because sometimes I feel like people are awarded a stupid amount of money, and then there's other cases where I'm thinking, man, they should have had more.
Well, this is why you always go to a jury trial, because when a jury is seated in these kind of cases, the jury's attitude is someone has to pay. This kid died. Right? They get the attorneys to go, oh, this terrible thing happened at this child. And I'm not making fun of it at all. Okay. It's tragic. This young man died. But the truth is, this is what the lawyers do. And somebody has to pay. And it may or may not be the person who actually caused the injury, because the person a lot of times who caused the injury, well, they didn't do it. Well, we'll sue the manufacturer of the car or the manufacturer of the coffee cup because the person who dropped the cup didn't have any money, that kind of thing. Right? That's what happens. So it's just a tragic case. But I wonder how many more times this will happen. I don't know what they do at Disney World. I've not been to Disney World in a lot of years. But what do they do? Because these rides were not designed for how fat. I'm not picking on fat people. But these rides are not designed for how large people are becoming. So I wonder how this is handled.
Well, I can tell you that. The new Tron ride at, I believe it's at Magic Kingdom, it is designed not necessarily for big people, and they turn people away.
Good. Okay. It's for their own safety. It's like you said, it's not to fat shame people. Why would you want to go on a ride that's not safe for you just because you're upset that you should be allowed to go on the ride? I would want someone to tell me, Kim, it's not safe for you to go on this ride. Just say that. You don't have to be like, come here, you are way overweight, and it doesn't have to be that dramatic.
Right. Well, if you show up 6 months pregnant, 8 months pregnant, or visibly pregnant, they're not going to let you on these rides. Right. Same thing. I love death-defying roller coasters. I mean, the more death-defying, the better. Okay, click, click, click when you go up the track. Click, click, click. I just love them. But if you get a really, really fat person in a seat, if you jam the person in there, to me, it would tip the balance of how the roller coaster is supposed to go up and down the track, right? I mean, even if the seat could accommodate them, their weight might throw things off.
This is like the argument with the plane. Should the airlines have to accommodate someone who requires 2 seats? Should they have to pay for that second seat? I would say yes.
Yes.
They absolutely should, because that's one more seat that the airline can't sell.
Right. Exactly right. And we shouldn't have to accommodate you can't push yourself.
Yeah, if you don't have to buy that extra seat, then I should be able to have my son on the seat and not have to pay for his own ticket.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. So I'm just looking at this as the child who died from political correctness. It's really how I'm seeing it.
It's a sad story. It really is. I wish it never happened. I mean, I'm glad the family won the case, the lawsuit, and they got money. But I think this should be a warning to people of, if it says there's a weight limit, you should probably respect that. We just don't know if that's, I guess, what caused this whole thing to happen. Because the ride didn't have seatbelts. I don't know if that was is that common with the ride, or is it because he couldn't fit with the seatbelt? Was that the issue?
Well, they said that they tried to make a couple of seats for larger people, but so it sounds like it didn't have the restraint necessary for somebody like him. Like, they wanted to be able to fit, but it really wasn't designed for that. So they modified one thing, but they couldn't modify another. Is what it sounds like. I mean, I wasn't in court, so I don't know.
It's like the Superman ride out at Six Flags. It goes up and it goes down.
Yeah,
but it goes down very quickly, and it goes up very high.
Yeah,
so you'd still fly out of your seat when you're coming down.
Yes.
Oh, sure. And, other people have flown out of seats in various places, whether it's, the slides and, because they're not put in correctly. They're not, they don't, or they'll disconnect their seatbelt or something like that. I mean, God forbid. I feel bad for the people who work these rides, because it's very, very important what they do to make sure everybody's belted in. And there are people who will mess with the belts after they're belted in. And that goes back to the ride operator, which it should not in a lot of cases.
Oh, I'm that
in this
person.
Case, I think it should.
I haven't gone on a roller coaster in years, but I'm that person when they come and check it. They're going so fast. I'm like, let me check it 10 more times just to make sure that it's actually locked.
They say, lift that up. And
I lifted up all right, about 10 times.
Yeah, exactly. You want to make sure.
We were talking this week, Heidi. There's this local. It's a pop-up holiday display, and people were jingle, and it's getting some taking some heat, rightfully so, because people are there's a slide, like an ice slide, where you can go down on an inner tube, which sounds really fun, but it sounds like it was going so fast that people were breaking. Someone broke her ankle, maybe broke a leg. People were getting hurt, bleeding. So they had to make changes so that people would come back because they were charging, I guess, a decent amount of money for tickets. So there's that. Yeah, you have a responsibility as a business to make sure that every safety precaution is taken. And if not, you should get sued.
Yeah, and especially when you're dealing with ice and inner tubes and things like that. I know somebody who was sliding just up in the mountains, sliding on an inner tube and hit his arm and paralyzed his right arm. He was a high school baseball star, and that was the end of his career. Paralyzed his right arm for the rest of his life just by hitting something weird. I mean, especially those inner tubes, because there's no way to steer them or slow them down.
Mm-hmm.
And they go flying and people go flying off them. And I wonder, to your point, I wonder if the people who were hurt were kind of big and that's why they flew off. I'm just saying, I don't know. But we have to check this. We have to give up political correctness when it comes to carnival rides. Can we all agree? I think so. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a sad story, and hopefully justice was served, but it breaks my heart. Shouldn't have happened, but it's political correctness as far as I'm concerned. I'm Heidi Harrison for Marc Cox.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Things seem to be moving through pretty decent in most spots. We've got some delays building now on 270 on your northbound side. Take that from about Gravois all the way up to 64, and their southbound side from Olive down to 64 as well, and then a slight pocket from 44 down to Gravois. 55 northbound only delays at the moment through the work zone. It takes you from Bayless up to past Weber, then another pocket right around Arsenal. Southbound side, it's the brakes around Bates, but not a big delay, and then again around Lindbergh on your southbound side with the lane closures and the ramp restrictions through that area. 170 southbound as you approach Forest Park Parkway down to 64 slow. The eastbound side of 64 slow going in spots that go from 270 over to Lindbergh. Your westbound side from Kings Highway to Big Bend is on the brakes. 70 only eastbound delays that go from Lindbergh over through the airport area. And 170, we covered that as well. Northbound side of 170 slow around the airport road area. And I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
How many agencies can they pull out of the system, ripped out of federal government spending, and we never even notice?
The Annie Fry Show, weekdays from noon to 3.
Cardinal single game tickets for the 2025 season, including opening day, are on sale now, just in time for the holidays. Give the gift of family time, date nights, or hanging out with your friends under the stadium lights. The 2025 schedule is filled with great matchups, including weekends with the Dodgers, Yankees, Cubs, and more. The promo schedule is packed with fan favorites, too. There's something for everyone in the 2025 season, so get your tickets now at cardinals.com/holiday.
Give the gift of baseball to the Star Wars fans, Harry Potter lovers, and Deadheads on your shopping list. Just in time for the holidays, the top Cardinals theme tickets are on sale now, and you can choose from returning favorites like Margaritaville, Sesame Street, St. Louis Blues Night, and more. Keep the holiday feeling alive with Christmas in July tickets. All on sale now at cardinals.com/theme.
This is Brendan Donovan. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com.
A lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, this is my last hope. The next step is getting them in the right arch supports. Our goal is to have that long-term change for them, to see someone that is in pain. I change things for them. See how we can help you with a free fitting at the Good Feet store.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Steel holiday savings are here. Make room under the tree for gifts at the top of their wish list. Power up the holidays with great deals on long-lasting tools. Find the perfect gift at your local Steel dealer or shop the Steel Holiday Gift Guide at steelusa.com.
He's right. Marc Cox. Kim on a whim.
Isn't it interesting that Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield has now said it's no longer moving forward with that policy it planned to implement February of next year in 3 states, New York, Connecticut, Missouri, where it would only cover a certain amount of anesthesia. So if the hospital went beyond a certain point, I guess a number of hours, they would say, nope, we're not going to cover that. Got a lot of pushback for that. The insurance company says, look, this was just in an effort to make healthcare more affordable to reduce overbilling for anesthesia. Heidi, I started doing some digging because this story really fascinates me. I wholeheartedly believe that colleges, I'm looking at an article from Trinity College, that hospitals rather will overbill. And I found a couple interesting studies. One of them from 2022 found that 60% of negotiated rates were higher than the cash rate. So if they find out that you're billing through insurance, they're going to hike up that amount. At the height of the COVID pandemic, there was a study that talked about how hospitals will jack up the charges by as much as 18 times over their costs when they know that insurance is involved. So
crazy.
Is the whole policy with Anthem great that they were trying to put in place? No, I don't think that was the best way that they could have handled that whole situation with overbilling. But I empathize, as much as insurance companies drive me bonkers, and I've talked about it on this show, where they find any possible way to deny a claim. I do empathize with them when it comes to this, because I think it's a problem with these hospitals who are overbilling as soon as they find out insurance, well, not just when insurance is involved, but especially when insurance is involved. They have to find some way to regulate it.
Well, you do, but can you imagine if you're halfway through a surgery, if this thing had continued? You're halfway through a surgery, the doctor's rushing the last hour because he knows
I only have another 45 minutes left. I have to go. I'm sorry. I was only able to get one of the legs done, actually. You're going to have to come back next year because it's going to renew for the amount of time for anesthesia.
No, but you're right about the fact that these bills are outrageous what they try to charge. I've got stories myself, and it's just insane. And then what bothers me the most is people coming into this country illegally are getting anything they want for free, and meanwhile they're padding the bills for us.
I know. Is that not so ridiculous?
It's wrong.
It'll be interesting to see if Anthem comes out with any other plan to try to tackle this issue.
I think they're all terrified. If I'm a CEO of a healthcare company, I'm keeping my mouth shut and my head low right now, because we don't really know, even though you and I suspect it wasn't related to medical care. Everybody's worried about this guy who was assassinated the other day, and they don't know if they're going to be next. So I'm keeping my mouth shut and my head low. That's it.
Yeah, the timing wasn't the best when Anthem comes out with this policy change. It's going to understandably rile a lot of people up. The anesthesiologists were fuming over it. And you might not want to be introducing controversial policy changes right after, or maybe it was the same day that the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson, was murdered in New York City. It may have been the same.
I think it was like the day after that they changed this policy, because the woman running Anthem, the company that's got a different name, but it was Anthem. She used to have Brian Thompson's job at United Healthcare. So she's got to be nervous. And I saw a story this morning. Top security firms are being inundated with calls after what happened to Brian Thompson.
Oh, I'm sure. There's just so much weird stuff about what happened.
Yeah.
Insurance companies, there was a whole debacle with Mercy and Anthem because they couldn't come up with some sort of a contract agreement. And so anybody who had Anthem, I guess, wasn't going to get covered. So everyone was, I saw all the moms on social media, panicking, trying to figure out who could deliver their baby if they were due in a month or so, and now they have agreed. There's always something with insurance companies and coverage, and I mean, heck, even our insurance, this is not talking about medical coverage, but our home in the St. Charles County area, we had hail damage, I think, in May, and got a lot of damage to one side of our home in the back, and so we have the company come out, and basically they agreed to only replace certain parts of the siding that were damaged. Well, that will look terrible. Some of these policies allow you to match it. So if that particular siding in this case is no longer made and manufactured, then they're going to say, okay, we'll go ahead and pay to have your entire backside of your home redone, new siding. Ours doesn't have that, which means that we have to fork over thousands of dollars to make sure that the back of our home doesn't look stupid, because otherwise you'd have mismatched siding. So there's always nuances with insurance companies that drive me bonkers. But I do hope, for Anthem's sake, that they can come to some sort of an agreement to make sure that these hospitals are not overcharging because you're in denial if you think that this does not happen. It absolutely does. And it's not just doctors. It's got to be all kinds of doctors.
There should be one price for things. Just give me the price, whether it's cash or insurance. Give me the price, the fair price. It's hard to find out what things cost anymore.
It's the dumbest stuff they can bill for. It really is. And a lot of it, understandably, they have to make decisions. Like my son was in the NICU when he was born, and they were having to make decisions on, when I wasn't there, for example. I had just gone home. I myself was recovering in the hospital. And so then you get the bill and you're like, oh my gosh. And you're trying to see all the things they did, and you're trying to make sure that you're being the one to say, yes, I agree to that. No, I do not agree to that. But you're kind of, when you've had a kid, you're not really with it after you've just had that child. Obviously they take advantage of the fact that you're a little bit out of it, and a lot of patients are. They're either sick or they're unconscious or whatever else, and these things are happening. Mm-hmm. Somebody signed some release when they came to the hospital, and that's it. They just pad your bill. Yeah, the releases that no one reads. It's like when you sign a new plan at your cell phone company and they give you 14 pages in really fine print, and they're like, please read over this and then sign it right now. One of these days, I want to be like, I would like to read that, and just stand there for an hour holding their iPad, making them wait. Ma'am, we're about to close. No. I want to make sure I read every single word before I sign this. Mm-hmm. And what you're supposed to do, from what I understand, you're supposed to cross out the word all and put, I'll pay for reasonable and customary charges. Can you really edit it that way?
I think you can. I've heard people advise that you should.
Okay, well, that's really good advice. I thought it was one of those all-encompassing things. Either you agree or you don't agree. See, that's part of the problem. People don't tell you this.
Well, of course they don't tell you because they want the money out of you. And if you've got insurance, they're going to give you all kinds of things you don't need. Blood work every 2 hours and all the other stuff because they can run up the bill.
Right. And what if they say, well, also you need this procedure and you need that procedure? Well, maybe you don't.
Right.
People forget that it's their job they make money from these surgeries. So there are, and I'm a big fan of this, sometimes surgery is absolutely necessary, but also there are holistic approaches that do not require surgery why are people so afraid to try those? Do you want to go under the knife? I mean, at least explore those holistic options before being so willing to get surgery. Right?
The doctors don't get paid for that. So that's what
the surgeons don't get paid. You have to get surgery. This is the only way to fix it because that's how they get paid.
The surgeon needs a new boat. Come on, Cam. I'm Heidi Harrison for Marc Cox.
It's the greatest pop rock of the 60s and 70s. The Happy Together Tour 2025 with the Turtles, Jay and the Americans, Little Anthony, Mark Lindsay, former lead singer of Paul Revere and the Raiders, the Vogues, and the Cowsills. August 21st, the Family Arena. Reserve seats on sale Friday, 10 a.m. at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.
Clint Black in concert. Clint Black, an incredible night featuring some of his greatest hits. Saturday, April 12th, 7 p.m., the Family Arena. Clint Black in concert. Special guests Ruby Lee and Emily Ann Roberts. On sale Friday, 10 a.m. at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Clint Black.
Del Walmsley interviews Chad and Lisa.
This property, for you to have done what you've done, won the award, changed it around, done all the rehab, has got to be worth a lot more.
We purchased it for $8.275, and it's worth $19 million now. So
wait, whoa. That is incredible. I can see why you won an award, and that's great.
Lifestyles Unlimited. Over 33 years teaching the real estate retirement roadmap. Text the word radio to 88007 for a $297 membership. Save $443 off the regular price. Text radio to 88007.
I'm Dr. Nick Barnes at Health From Within Family Chiropractic in Rock Hill. At Health From Within, our mission is to transform the way you manage your health by bringing you the truth about health and healing. We use proven techniques to remove interference in the nervous system and maximize health naturally, without drugs or surgery. Connect with me at healthfromwithinstl.com And join me for Maximize Living on this station every Sunday at 8 a.m. or download the Maximize Living podcast, healthfromwithinstl.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at ThrottleNet, and you've probably heard George Rosenthal from ThrottleNet on the show. He's a technology whiz, and George and his team can educate you and your business on the dangers lurking with technology. Here's a unique opportunity along those lines. Does your company have a lunch and learn or guest speakers? For a limited time, ThrottleNet is providing free lunch and learns to provide cybersecurity awareness training. One click can cause a ton of damage to your business. ThrottleNet is determined to make sure that doesn't happen. And if it does, they're the cybersecurity experts who can help. ThrottleNet is known for high customer satisfaction, averaging 99% happiness with over 35,000 surveys. They have an industry-leading response time of less than 2 minutes. And no clients of ThrottleNet have ever paid ransom as a result of a cyber attack. Contact ThrottleNet at throttlenet.com/971 and we can schedule your free company lunch. Don't miss out. Find out more today about ThrottleNet at throttlenet.com/971.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
A big rebound in hiring. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. More new jobs last month than expected, and way more than just the 36,000 in October.
227,000 jobs were created. The unemployment rate, 4.2%, is exactly in line with expectations on this.
That's Fox Business Network's Edward Lawrence. The reaction on Wall Street mostly positive. Stock futures have been rising modestly. The day after selling knocked the Dow and the Nasdaq off record highs. Cryptocurrencies have also surged lately. Bitcoin topped $100,000 for the first time this week. It's down a bit from that now as President-elect Trump picks another financial executive for his next administration.
David Sachs to be his artificial intelligence and crypto czar. That's a move seen very friendly to the crypto world. He's going to be in charge of guiding White House policy on crypto and AI, which Trump says the U.S. should lead the entire world on.
That's Fox's Bill Malugin near the Trump estate in West Palm Beach, Florida. The president-elect just posted on Truth Social about his defense secretary nominee, writing Pete Hegseth is doing very well, that his support is strong and deep, much more so than the fake news would have you believe. Amid sexual misconduct and other allegations, Hegseth calls an attempted media takedown.
I'm a different man than I was years ago, and that's a redemption story that I think a lot of Americans appreciate.
Now, the president-elect has also nominated Rodney Scott, a critic of Biden border policies, to be Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection ahead of mass deportations of illegal immigrants. Melania Trump, who will be the first lady again, just told Fox she's also getting her team ready.
I'm establishing everything what it needs so we could start on day one. Everybody's in and we start working.
It's day 3 of the New York City manhunt for the masked gunman who murdered United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
The NYPD is continuing to look at security camera footage. Pictures have been circulating of someone wearing a jacket while unmasked in the lobby of a hostel, and police say this is a person of interest in the shooting.
Hey,
That's
everybody.
Fox's Jessica
There's
Rosenthal.
Amy.
America's listening
Cynthia,
to
how
Fox
are you
News.
guys? Hello,
The holidays
hello
mean
to
more
everybody.
travel, more shopping, more time online, and more
Hello,
personal info
Joe.
in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Good morning. I'm Kim Sainand for 97.1 FM Talk. 20 degrees now at 8:03. Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield says it's no longer moving forward with its controversial new policy to limit insurance coverage for anesthesia following massive pushback. The insurance company says the change was part of an effort to make healthcare more affordable by reducing overbilling for anesthesia. The policy was supposed to take effect in Missouri on February 1st. A new bill in Missouri aims to make it harder to sell stolen catalytic converters. Thieves commonly steal these catalytic converters because of the rare minerals they contain. Representative Tyson Smith's bill would require sellers to show proof they got the parts legally, or they'd have to sign an affidavit declaring it's not stolen. The bill would also add criminal penalties for anyone who buys the stolen parts. You may spot some new digital billboards up in the St. Louis area as you're out and about this morning. That is in an effort to find who shot and killed CBC hockey player Colin Brown. There's a $25,000 reward from Crime Stoppers for anyone who has information that helps police make an arrest. And then we actually spoke to a local St. Louis man who threw in an additional $10,000 of his own money for a reward. Visitation for Brown was held last night, and then his funeral will be this morning in about 2 hours at 10 o'clock at the Cathedral Basilica. It's now 8:04 and 20 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. In sports, the Blues won 4-3 in overtime against the Calgary Flames last night. They have 2 more games in Canada, tomorrow and Tuesday, before they'll be heading back to St. Louis for a game against the Sharks on Thursday. It came down to the last couple seconds of the game for Thursday Night Football. The Lions end up beating the Green Bay Packers 34-31 thanks to a field goal, clinching them a spot in the playoffs. For any basketball fans, SLU men lost to the San Francisco Dons 78-61. Illinois' next game will be tonight against Northwestern. Tip-off is at 8 o'clock. And then Mizzou takes on Kansas on Sunday. Just changed over to 8:05. We're at 20 degrees. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
We got some slowdowns out there. Things are improving, though, pretty quickly. The eastbound side of 64, we're slow going from McKnight over to Big Bend. You've got westbound delays that go from just past Hampton now to Big Bend as well. And then further on your west end, you've got the eastbound delays that through the Wentzville area to about 364. And you've got 270 northbound slow spots that go from Gravois on up to about Manchester. Southbound side hits the brakes at Olive down to 64. And we've got some 170 southbound delays headed into 64. Nothing really much on 70 to worry about. 44 is also pretty clear. And 55 through the work zone between Lindbergh and Arsenal. We're seeing delays both north and southbound. They come and go. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The official 97.1 FM Talk Weather Center forecast. Clear to partly cloudy and cold overnight. We'll reach an overnight low of 19. Not as cold for your Friday with sunshine and a few clouds. Friday we'll see a high of 41. Mostly sunny Saturday. Warmer Saturday we'll reach a high of 55. It'll be mild Sunday with some sunshine, then turning cloudy with a high of 59. I'm Drew Shannon for 97.1 FM Talk.
8:06 right now and 20 degrees. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Listen to both sides. The bottom line is, I respect that. We don't agree.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Just to find a voice. Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
I don't know how to put this.
Marc Cox.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, it adds excitement, doesn't it, folks?
Heidi Harris on 97.1 FM Talk.
Always a privilege to be here with you guys and hanging out with my favorite morning crew in the whole wide world. Would that be overstating it? I don't think so. Got Carl here, Kim here, Trent here. Here's an interesting story that I find fascinating because when you're in the news business, or even if you're not in the news business, even if you're a consumer of news, you should be able to pick up bias. I would think so. I mean, I know critical thinking's out the window now, but if I'm looking at a story, I can absolutely pick up bias. And if I were doing a story, like Kim does a great job of reporting the news without putting bias in it. She can talk about other things and give us her opinion. But when it comes to writing the news, I don't know how to write news, but if I had to take a story and, just report the story without a bias, I could absolutely do it. So now the head of the New York Times, the owner of the New York Times, Patrick Soon-Shiong, he blocked the newspaper's endorsement of Kamala Harris, which I think is not a bad idea. I don't see why newspapers even do that. He plans to overhaul the editorial board. He said he's going to implement an artificial intelligence-powered bias meter on the paper's news articles to provide readers with, quote unquote, both sides of the story.
I saw this. So who gets to decide if it's biased? Because obviously they're not going to think their stories are biased. Do the readers get to read it and say, I think this is clearly slanting to the left?
Right. Like how many stories were written about Trump and the election? And they would always throw in the word or some kind of word like it. They should have just said his claims that he, didn't lose the election, or he claims that were fraud. They would always put his unfounded claims, right? They would always put that word in there. That's editorializing. I mean, kids in high school ought to be taught this, how you can just read a story straight and not put any slant in it. And apparently these people can't figure this out.
So KMOV shared a story the other day that CNN had written, so they were just reposting it essentially. But the headline for that CNN story, which should surprise nobody, says, things to buy before tariffs make them more expensive. So it's a declarative statement to say, when Trump's tariffs take effect, they will make things more expensive. What's your basis for that?
Right.
You hear people talking about that on the left, but look what happened when he was president the first time.
Right. How about things that you could purchase that might be affected by Trump's tariffs? How about that? That's fair, right?
Yeah, I think.
Because you're not saying they're going to be more expensive. You're just saying they could be affected by it.
Maybe just using certain words like maybe. When they make such a declarative statement, that really bothers me.
Yeah.
And it's all over local news. It's all over national media. National media is probably even worse.
Oh, absolutely. But you know what's sad is they don't even realize how biased they are. They don't even understand it. So when they put words in like, Trump's unfounded claims of election fraud. No. You could just say Trump claims the election was whatever, rigged or whatever. You don't have to say unfounded, unproven. They always threw that word in there, one of those words in there in every story that I ever read about it. And obviously.
I had a liberal friend challenge me on an article that I was saying was biased, and he said, well, I don't understand. Show me. So I went through the article, and I highlighted all the different words that were used that I felt were biased, and he didn't really have much to say back to that. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. But when you have the blinders on, like so many liberals do, which I did for many, many years until about 2020, it's like your brain can't see it. You can't process how it's possibly biased.
Yeah, because they hate Trump or they hate the right so much that they can't write a normal article of any kind without putting some editorial comments in. They just can't.
Yep.
It's so fascinating. Well, there was a rebuke from the union representing hundreds of times New York, it's the staffers, the newsroom staffers. They're saying that he had publicly suggested his staff harbors bias without offering evidence of examples. Okay. And they went on to say the Los Angeles Times Guild said, our members and all time staffers abide by a strict set of ethics guidelines which call for fairness, precision, transparency, vigilance against bias, and an earnest search to understand all sides of an issue.
Well, the problem is local media thinks that the way to be transparent is to show the reporter asking the question. The problem is that they're not asking the right questions. They're not writing the stories in the way that shows that they're objective about it.
Exactly. And they don't even understand it. That's the problem. They don't even, and they're not taught this in journalism school. Here's the story. Here's how you write it with bias. Here's how you write it without bias.
That probably should be a specific course now, giving students different examples of articles and saying, is this bias or not? The problem is the professors themselves would fall in the same probably liberal category as a lot of the students, so they wouldn't see it themselves. So I don't know how you'd even find anyone who'd be willing to teach it or could teach it.
Oh, yeah. My friend's daughter's in college, and she was homeschooled till she was in about high school, and now she's going to college. And she's arguing with her professor, not being disrespectful, but he's making statements, declarative statements that are absolutely patently false. And so she'll challenge him on things, and he'll go, well, he gets all upset because he's used to just making these statements and having the students just believe it without anybody saying, well, how do you prove that?
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah, I know. God bless her. She's a smart kid. But it's so funny that there's a particular site. I'm not going to name but it presents supposedly, it purports to present all sides of an issue. And they'll actually send you some kind of reminder if you're reading too much from one side. I'm sorry, I don't need you to pat me on the head and tell me. I read all sides every day. You know, the right, the left. Matter of fact, I'll read the left more than I read the right because I know what the right's going to say. I'll read what the left has to say. On election night, what was I watching? I was watching left-leaning coverage on election night. I was not watching Fox and there are 82 people on the desk. I was watching the left.
Bless your heart, you got through that coverage.
I did, because as it was getting worse and worse for Harris, it was more and more fun for me to watch.
That's probably true, to watch their meltdown.
Yes, their faces were looking very concerned as the evening progressed, and I was thoroughly enjoying that. But, you know, once again, they're supposed to be unbiased, and they're not. And we all have our prejudices. I get all of that. But if you claim to be a news person, you put out the news. This is what happened, who, what, where, when, and why, and not, you know, not why I think it happened. Right?
That's for the listener or the viewer to determine.
Well, right. You're supposed to make your own decisions about things. The facts are presented and you decide. The problem is people can't decide for themselves anymore. Unfortunately, many people can't because they're not taught critical thinking. And that becomes a problem. But I don't know, the idea of a bias meter.
Let's see how this works.
I can't wait to see it. But that AI stuff's getting a little frightening in some ways, isn't it? Wow. Pretty scary stuff. I'm Heidi Harrison from Marc Cox.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
And things are slow going. If you're headed on the northbound side of 270, take it pretty much from Tesson Ferry on up to Clayton Road, or almost up to 64. Your southbound delays just take you from Olive down to 64, and then again around 44 to Gravois. 55 northbound slowdowns from Bayless up to Weber. Your southbound side hits the brakes around Bates with the roadwork delays through that area. Westbound on 64, you're seeing delays that go from about Hampton over to Big Bend. Your eastbound side from McKnight over to Big Bend is kind of heavy as you pass 170 and 170 southbound past Forest Park Parkway down to 64 on the brakes. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk is online, and you can stream it on your phone anytime. Just download the Odyssey app, and 97.1 is one button away. 97.1 FM Talk on the Odyssey app.
Surprise!
Surprise!
You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
What's it going to take for you to realize the IRS is in full-blown attack mode, and if you have IRS issues, your timely response is critical? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We certainly know the IRS has ramped up efforts because we're seeing a lot more clients with threats of intents to seize property or levy rights to property. If you have IRS issues, call the Lance Drury Firm today. Today, don't wait. Those IRS notices have hard deadlines for exercising your appeal rights. If you miss the deadline, your rights to a legal appeal are gone. Let the Land Story Law Firm get between you and the IRS today, and we'll help you manage your case to achieve the best outcome. IRS problems are serious legal matters, so call Land Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Don't wait. Call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120, and schedule your free consultation with me, Lance Drury, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
He's got the ammo. Marc Cox. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. Heidi Harris on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Marc Cox. Always a privilege hanging out with some of my very favorite people in the radio business. Marc returns on Monday. I have noticed that when you look on the major websites, and I know you're doing that, Kim, you see the same old, reworked, rehashed stories about the assassination of the CEO. It's very difficult to find any new nuggets of anything. Have you noticed that?
Well, I keep seeing new bits of information as far as the water bottle that he threw away at Starbucks and that he stayed at the hostel. But other than that, no.
Yeah, they keep changing the headlines to make you think it's something new.
To
and
click on it again. There might be one little new nugget, and that might be they're still looking for the killer, or we've entered day 4 or whatever it is, 3 of the manhunt.
Exactly.
That's what warrants a whole new article and a new picture, like you said, to make you think that you're getting a brand new article, and it's basically a whole lot of nothing.
It's the same old stuff. Retired FBI agent Scott Duffy was talking to Fox News Digital, talking about the investigation. He says the NYPD has a team scouring for more surveillance footage of the perpetrator that might offer more clues. Okay, that's good. He said they're trained to know where to look and the technology to be able to work with a business or home with a doorbell or camera or security footage to get that footage off whatever cloud or hardware they have and get it back to the police department. Well, that's obvious. So everywhere this kid went down the alley and back onto 6th Avenue, they probably are looking for cameras for that. Remember Ted Williams? He used to be on Greta's show years ago. Anyway, he's quoted, Washington, D.C., retired Washington, D.C.-based homicide detective. Said the investigators in New York would be looking at video feeds prior to the arrival of the shooter at the Hilton and video feeds trying to establish his whereabouts. Yes, indeed, you do. But here's another thing that to the point that you and I've been making this morning about, let's just look at the wife more closely. We're not making any accusations here, but we're just saying, let's just look at her more closely. And you know they are. This FBI agent Duffy said, start with the inner circle. This is a whodunit murder on a public block in one of the largest cities in the world. But if you run on the premise that it's targeted, you don't have to worry about your common thief, robbers on the street. If you're looking at a targeted individual, start small with family. What's the family situation?
Mm-hmm. Come to find out, he and his wife are estranged. They live about a mile away from each other in Minnesota. She's the one who goes on and talks. What was it? The New York Times. She talks to some outlet.
I think it was NBC.
NBC. She talks to them within, had to be 12 hours of the shooting, and says there've been some threats. Something about coverage, and they were angry about coverage.
Yeah.
I don't know all the details about it, but then their police are saying locally there no reports of any threats. You'd think that at the very least they would tip police off because he is a high-ranking official. They'd want them to be aware of these threats, just as a precaution.
That's right. Yeah, this former FBI agent Duffy said a victimology will be run on him, with investigators speaking to family, friends, and colleagues he regularly interacts with. Make a small circle, he says, and quickly exclude them as suspects. Then you start to broaden your circle. So he ain't buying it. And like you and I are going, mm-hmm.
How much money do you think this shooter was paid, by the way? Had to be a lot of money.
Good question. More than 10 grand, the 10 grand they're offering for information. Like that is paltry. I mean, that's what, a month's rent in New York City?
That's not much.
$10,000? That's not much. So here's what he says. This is interesting. He said, of course, as you mentioned, his wife is living separately. And this former FBI agent said, I want to know what the communication looks like, in what form. Lots of people in his position get a host of threats, just like a political figure. You get a lot of threats, but you don't necessarily want to be looking at thousands. That will take you down a rabbit hole. Yeah, I was doing a show in South Carolina yesterday, and I had a friend of mine on who I didn't want to call it this ungodly hour in Vegas, who has done a lot of executive protection after he retired as a police officer, as a police sergeant. And he was talking about that and saying, you have to look at how credible the threat is, how specific the threat is, and all these different things. You can't just say, oh, somebody sent me. I mean, someone sent me an email. They don't like, okay, so we get that too. So your point, that's not a target.
Well, they should be able to find these supposed threats. If they were made online, texted to him, emailed to him.
Exactly.
I highly doubt they were made to him in person. So they should be able to track him down and see if the estranged wife's claim was even valid.
Right. And you have to wonder, too, when you look at this situation, how many times somebody gets assassinated and they haven't received threats ahead of time. They just go in and they just take care of business, whatever it is they want to do. So I'm not even sure he had any threats.
Right.
We don't know.
And the words on the bullet casings, to me, is just more indicative of this being not about what they claim it is.
I agree.
They want to lead people
red
down
herring.
that path and have investigators spend more time trying to find someone angry about not getting coverage when it's really a personal matter.
Right. That just seems so hokey to me, that whole thing. Doesn't it?
Some investigator said he's been he's like, I've been in the business for decades. Never have I seen words written on shell casings.
Yes. Yeah. Who's got time for that nonsense? This is going to be a Forensic Files episode, I'm sure, or something at some point, because it's just, if it turns out that the wife had anything to do with it, we're not accusing her. We're not. But you always, this is the FBI speaking, and we are too, but you always go to the family first. What's the family situation? Who had the most to gain from this person being killed? If a person was mad about some coverage being denied, that they're not going to solve anything by killing this guy, especially if they lost a relative. You're not going to bring him back. So you have to ask yourself, and the DOJ investigation was a factor. We got to look at that. All kinds of things, insider trading issues, some other things that were going on with the company. So, it's funny too, because you see people and you think they have it all together. Oh, they've got this fancy job and this fancy house, and and then you realize once you just rub the surface a little bit, you realize underneath it's just a shell, that they're as screwed up as everybody else and they have as many problems as other people do.
But we're hearing that's so true. No, people can put on a really good front.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're also saying that some of the headlines, and once again, a lot of these are just being repeated. Investigators are closing in. I'm using air quotes here, closing in on the killer's identity. Okay, sure. I hope so.
I'm sure they're saying that so that the guy thinks, oh, I just turned myself in. They're closing in on me. Even though I showed my face to the surveillance cameras because I was stupid enough to take my mask down and then stupid enough to throw away a water bottle at Starbucks and left my DNA, stupid enough to supposedly leave a burner phone in the alley where he was hiding, waiting for Brian Thompson to walk by.
Right. But even if they find a water bottle in the trash can with some kind of DNA on it, if they do, how do they prove it was his? I mean, the police may believe it was his based on the pictures and things like that, but a defense attorney could tear that apart.
Yes, but wouldn't there be surveillance cameras in and outside of the Starbucks? So it would potentially catch him if he was holding it, walking in, versus in his backpack that he was wearing, holding it, walking in, and throwing it away? Especially in New York, you'd think there'd be cameras inside the Starbucks, too.
Well, there must be a reason they were looking for it, so they must have seen him on camera. But I mean, a defense attorney could maybe tear it apart and say, well, I don't know how you know it's that particular bottle's his. A lot of people use that brand. We don't know. I don't know what the bottle looks like, so we have no idea at this point.
It'd be interesting if this guy has no criminal record. Like, this was his first crime. Can you imagine?
Yeah. I'm fascinated by this. I'm not going to lie to you.
Guy does not look like he's done any time in jail, based on the surveillance pictures I've seen so far. This guy looks like he may have come from like a preppy background, like he was wearing when he was in high school. He had the frosted tips and the Lacoste collar popped.
Oh my gosh. Well, we know
am I wrong? I mean, look at the picture of him. The guy's got a nice smile. Like, he looks like he's kind of well off. And you were saying the backpack he was wearing is some $600. Who has $600 to throw at a backpack?
Yeah, it's expensive. You can they don't make them anymore, but even on eBay, you pay $100 for a used one. They're not cheap, and they were designed initially, from what I could tell, they were designed for photographers. So you can take, they have Velcro inside where you can put lenses and put little, things around the lenses and whatnot. But it's fascinating. The aspects of this are fascinating, and it may wind up being something so simple in the end. But they're going to get this guy. There's no way they're not going to get him. And it wouldn't be crazy if he was brought down by flirting with a woman. Wouldn't be the first man, would he? I'm Heidi Harris, in for Marc Cox.
If If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-987-6122. 800-987-6122. 800-987-6122.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Ho, ho, ho! This is Santa, and I'm going to be in the Defiance Christmas Festival Parade Saturday, December 7th. Food trucks open at 9 a.m. At 10 a.m., kids' activities, including a bounce house, along with live music from Clover and the Dashing Through Defiance 5K. Sign up at runsignup.com. Parade starts at noon right through downtown Defiance. Please, no Santa costumes. The kids come to see me. Following the parade, pictures with me, Santa, and a beer tent with live music at 1:30. No coolers in the park. That's Saturday, December 7th. Come and see me in Defiance. Ho, ho, ho!
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The official 97.1 FM Talk Weather Center forecast. Clear to partly cloudy and cold overnight. We'll reach an overnight low of 19. Not as cold for your Friday with sunshine and a few clouds. Friday we'll see a high of 41. Mostly sunny Saturday. Warmer Saturday we'll reach a high of 55. It'll be mild Sunday with some sunshine, then turning cloudy with a high of 59. I'm Drew Shannon for 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now. More than 4 million Americans gouged by credit card repair companies will soon collectively receive $1.8 billion in refund checks. That's according to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This applies to Lexington Law and CreditRepair.com. It's the largest distribution yet from CFPB. The Department of Justice has announced a McKinsey & Company subsidiary agreed to pay nearly $123 million to resolve an investigation into a scheme to bribe government officials in South Africa. The bribery scheme helped McKinsey net approximately $85 million in profits. Corporate executives are seeking additional security protection after the fatal shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York. That's according to Kroll Enterprise Security Risk Management. Thompson was killed on his way to United Health Group investors meeting in Midtown Manhattan yesterday. Futures are slightly higher. That's Your Money Now.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
And we're seeing some leftover delays. A lot of them are clearing up, though. On 270 northbound, we still have some slowdowns past Doherty Ferry on up to just about 64. The southbound side's mostly cleared up, but a slight delay you're going to find around Page and another one around Gravois. North and southbound on 55, on and off delays. They take you through the work zone. That takes you up from Lindbergh up to Arsenal. Southbound side, you'll find between those same 2 points some up and down delays. The westbound side of 64 slows going from Hampton over to Big Bend. Eastbound side, just leftover stuff that goes from Big Bend to almost the Hampton area and then into downtown or over the Poplar Street Bridge. No problems on 70. Looking pretty good on 44 as well. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
After a whirlwind year, bring peace back to your home. Enjoy 10% off Mosby remodeling projects or no payments until 2026. Call 314-909-1800 by December 31st. Mosby Building Arts, bringing joy home.
This is the giving season, so on the Annie Fry Show, we're turning our attention to the St. Louis Area Food Bank.
Join us for a special live broadcast and food drive at Ruler Foods this Wednesday.
Together, we can make a real difference. This Wednesday at Ruler Foods in St. Charles.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right? And right now your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. Good for you. That's cash you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel, everything you want. The catch is you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with True Hold, Sell and Stay Leaseback Program. This is a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to True Hold while the value is high. You bank all that equity in cash now, and you can stay in your home as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And True Hold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. True Hold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a True Hold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993. That's 1-855-300-1993. Or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. TrueHold.com.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning eternity band, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer, or maybe you're looking for that perfect engagement ring or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have the perfect gifts for the season, starting at around $500. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift, or for some fabulous ideas, see the online seasonal gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Cut through the hype. Get to the truth. The Marc Cox Morning Show.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Marc Cox. Thrilled to be joined by Jimmy Failla, host of Fox Across America on Fox News Radio, heard weeknights 6 p.m. right here on 97.1 FM Talk. How are you, Jimmy?
Hey, girl. I'm good. I'm a little nuts. I got to tell you, last night we had the Fox Nation Patriot Awards, and, I was telling Trump jokes with Trump in the front row. Pretty surreal. And there was an after party, so I can't promise you I'm completely sobered up yet, but I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. So how did Trump take your jokes?
Well, it was good. I got to tell you, it's so funny that you say that because, I walked on stage, I saw all the Secret Service, and I've never told jokes before where if they didn't work, I might get tased. You know what I'm saying? It's like anybody can get Will Smith where he just runs on the stage and slaps you, but it's a totally different level of a joke failing if you got 2,000 volts in your arm. But
that
thankfully, no tasings involved, and everything's running good.
And it was a great night. That's fantastic. All right, so talk to me about the Night of Comedy. This is Fox Nation's first ever Night of Comedy. Looks like it's going to be so great.
It's going to be nuts. It's December 12th on Fox Nation. So if you have Fox Nation, you can watch it there. If you don't, just go to foxnation.com and get it. It's myself, Jim Brewer, who's on SNL. He was great. Adam Carolla, Anthony Rodia. Really rowdy comics. We're all doing individual sets. and they're going to stream it live on Fox Nation. So it's basically like you're going to the comedy club for the night from home, except we're not going to charge you for the drinks. You got to get your own.
They're cheaper at home.
Yeah, I would think, right? Hey, you got to get a better deal. I'd like to think you get a better deal at home than you do at my shows, but you need the liquor at my shows so they can get away with charging you extra.
Yeah, Carl was in Vegas a couple months ago, producer Carl, and he bought a cocktail at the pool. It was $50 for one cocktail at the pool, Jimmy. $50.
Well, forgive me for asking, but was the bartender a hooker? I'm kidding.
She was.
That's a hell of a idea. It's starting to make more sense.
Side
now, right?
hustle.
That's amazing.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So it's going to be great. It's December 12th. This is going to be Thursday, December 12th, and it's going to be live, and you're going to see it on Fox Nation. It sounds like a great night. Great talking to you. I'm glad you had a good time last night. That looked like a great event with the Patriot Awards.
Yeah, it was amazing. If you see me on my TV show tomorrow night with a black eye, I'll explain then. We don't have time to get into it now.
You're going to give us the real story or the fake story, the cover story?
I'm kidding. There's no story. You're so silly. No, we had a great time.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And, I love talking to you guys, and shout out to everybody in St. Louis and everybody on the Hill. Do you know people are still sending me Italian food because I shouted out the Hill on my show?
Really?
And I got somebody FedExed homemade meatballs to me as if I'd be allowed to eat meatballs I got in the mail.
I would eat those meatballs. They're from the Hill. Oh, my gosh. That's what we need to do is shout out the Hill.
They're amazing meatballs, but we do have security protocols at Fox. You can't eat food in the mail.
I was going to say, nothing dropped off at the studio, nothing in the mail. Sorry, folks. We just can't chance it in the radio business or the TV business.
Nope. But they looked great. They looked really good, so I'm going to come back and visit soon.
Well, maybe go over to CNN and get a food taster next time. How about that?
They need them. That's amazing. Good job.
Thank you, Jimmy Failla. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you.
You're the
Every
best.
night, 6 p.m. Nice, right here on 97.1
Ho,
FM
everybody.
Talk. Bye. Ho, ho, ho. Thank you. Should be fun.
Bye-bye.
I'm Heidi Harris. We had to let him go quickly, so that's where we're rushing out the door here.
I wonder what the
That's gonna
future
be a
of
fun
comedy is, because I appreciate how Jimmy Failla is one of those guys who's not PC. And so many comedians just seem terrified to make any sort of joke that could get some serious pushback. And that, to me, is comedy. That's what you do. You say the things that a lot of people might have thought of saying, but they're too scared, and you're the one who's willing to stand up there on a stage and say it.
I was talking to a comic a while back in Vegas. He said, I'm a fat guy, and I can't even make fat jokes. I mean, how sad is that?
It's true.
Right? I don't know how you even do it anymore, because back in the days of comedy where you had people like Don Rickles and, you had Richard Pryor, all these people, I mean, they were basically, nailing everybody. And that was the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be comedy. Ha ha. You're not supposed to be offended. You're supposed to just laugh about it, because there are stereotypes. I mean, look at things like Blazing Saddles. You couldn't make that movie today.
Oh, a lot of things. Think about even the show The Office. When did they start? Was that the 90s that they were shooting that?
Around 2000.
That was a great.
But it really became recently popular. I, for example, did not watch that show when it was out. I was, raised in the 90s. But I watched it maybe like 5 years ago. I started watching it, and I love it. And same thing with Friends. A lot of younger kids who were not even alive when Friends was actually airing, when we had to run to the bathroom during the commercial break on Thursday nights at whatever it was, 7 o'clock or something when it would air. I remember that. And both of those shows have really taken off. And in particular, The Office makes some jokes where I don't think they would be recording something like that now without getting a lot of pushback.
Probably not. Well, look at the original Frasier. I mean, I didn't see it the first time it ran, because at the time I worked nights, but what a great show that is. And there's a lot of stuff in there that you couldn't say today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy world that we're living in. Everybody's so touchy, in the words of Rizzo from Greece. Everyone's so touchy now. You can't offend anybody. But for a fat guy to say, I can't make a fat joke, well then, what?
There's a book
that's your experience.
There's a book that our pastors were talking about one time on a Sunday morning, talking about unoffendable. That's the name of the book. Basically, we need to stop being so offended at everything. That's become so, everyone's feelings are hurt. And I get there are some things that are said that truly are hurtful. But so many people these days, and maybe I've been guilty of this in the past, but you say one thing to somebody and they're in a tizzy about it because they say that it was so offensive and all of these things, and they expect you to bow down to them and apologize. And man.
Yeah. I had somebody this morning on X say, not a fan of what you just said about people threatening da-da-da-da-da. And I went, oh, well, thanks for listening. I mean, what'd you expect me to do? Apologize? And I should have responded, and this is what I've done. I don't play with trolls anymore, but occasionally I've responded to people who say really nasty things, and I'll say, wait, let me see. I checked my list of people whose names matter, whose opinions matter to me. Oh, you're not on that list. Huh, that's weird.
That's a good response.
Yeah, why would I care? I don't even know who you are. Why would I care what you think? But you have to just be able to blow it off and say, so because you label me doesn't mean that I own that, whatever that might be.
Right.
But unfortunately, if you can't laugh, then don't go out and see a comic, because they're going to skew everybody in the room, hopefully, if they're doing it right.
I think some of the funniest comedians make you feel just a little uncomfortable. There probably is a line. Some of them have crossed it.
Right.
But a funny comedian kind of makes you a little bit cringy because you're like, oh, yep, that's true. Yep, I've thought about that before, but I would never dare say it out loud.
Well, there's a girl. Do you know who Angela Johnson is?
Mm-mm.
Angela Johnson. I haven't seen her lately, but that doesn't mean she's not working. Beautiful girl. And she did a whole routine about the nail salon, the nail salons that are mostly run by Asians.
Mm-hmm.
It is the funniest thing you've ever heard in your life. I'll have to send you some clips of it. You want to die laughing. It's absolutely accurate, and it's not ragging on anybody.
Is it that we think they're talking about us, but we can't understand what they're
right.
saying?
Yes, there's that, and also trying to upsell you on, and the name of the business is Beautiful Nail, not Beautiful Nails. And I had to laugh because there was a place the other day I saw a nail salon open near me, and the same thing. It had nail, not nails. I mean, the whole routine is hilarious. And she, but she makes fun of Latinos because she is Latino and something else. I think she's Latino and Asian. But she's so funny about. She's like, if you don't swat your kids, we will. That's how it is. Think jokes like that, but not offensive jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a Latina comic one time talking about kids. She said, I got 4 kids. She said, I see you white people out there with your kids. Okay, Ashley, let's take a minute. Let's have a little meeting. And she said, my kids say, where's our meeting? She goes, my hand meets your butt. That's the meeting. Right. But it's funny because she's coming at it from her perspective as a mother and her culture.
Right.
And that's funny.
White girl jokes are funny too. And I'm totally guilty of having the Stanley, the ridiculously oversized water cup, whatever it is, and water bottle. And they joke about how do you get a white girl into a van? They say, go put like a Starbucks, pumpkin spice latte and a puppy, and then the woman will just walk right up there. Maybe put a Stanley tumbler too, and then they're really going to go. That's
hilarious. Funny. The white girl with the golden retriever jogging. That's the stereotype, right?
Yep.
But you can't make a joke because now you stereotype somebody. It's like, come on, give me a break. It's funny. Oh, brother. I guess we have to laugh, especially with what's going on now. All right, coming up, much more on the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Heidi Harris in for Marc Cox.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Some slowdowns on 64 if you're headed eastbound. That takes you from pretty much 170 over to Big Bend or just past Big Bend. Westbound side slows from Hampton to Big Bend, and then 170 southbound in that same area past Forest Park Parkway down to 64. Still a little slow. Northbound side of 270 slow going past Manchester to Clayton. Southbound side seeing delays around Olive and then again around Gravois. No problems. You're on 55 now through that work zone between Arsenal down to Lindbergh, either direction. Nice and clear for you. I-70 moving a little slow over the river on the westbound side around the Earth City area. On the eastbound side, you're moving pretty decent until you get closer into downtown. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
This holiday season, save $30 on the GTA 26 handheld garden pruner. Now just $149.99. Visit your local Steel dealer today or shop online at steelusa.com. Offer valid for a limited time.
And you've
Only
not
at
tried
participating
Stonehill
dealers
wines
while
yet,
supplies last.
I'm telling you, you are missing out. If you're going to a holiday party, grab a bottle at your local grocery store. You can find them really anywhere, thanks to our friends at Lore Wine and Spirits. But grab a bottle of Stonehill wine because it's going to be a crowd pleaser. What's really cool about Stonehill, at least what I think is really cool, is that it's a local winery. It's located in Herman, been around since 1847. So you can actually go tour it. Let's say you try a bottle, you love it. You can go try even more. You could check out Stonehill's underground cellars. and it's just going to be a really cool experience that you could make even a day trip out of. Listen to this. Stonehill's Cream Sherry recently received a 94-point rating at the Decanter World Wine Awards this year. And I know you probably are not familiar with that, but let me tell you, that's actually a really big deal. That's the highest ever rating for a Midwest wine at that competition, okay? And Stonehill won it. In fact, they've won more than 5,000 medals for their delicious wine. So if you're looking for a recommendation, you could try Stonehill's Norton. Love that one. Really fantastic red wine. The Chamberson is also really popular. If you're a red or white wine fan, you're going to find one that you love. And I've had both, so I'm telling you this from experience. The Hellbender Blanc, that's a good white one. I had that with dinner the other night. Like I mentioned, you can find Stonehill wines at just about any retail store in Missouri.
The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
How many agencies can they pull out of the system, ripped out of federal government spending, and we never even notice?
The Annie Fry Show, weekdays from noon to 3.
Clint Black in concert. Clint Black, an incredible night featuring some of his greatest hits. Saturday, April 12th, 7 p.m., the Family Arena. Clint Black in concert. Special guests Ruby Lee and Emily Ann Roberts. On sale Friday, 10 a.m. at the Carroll House Furniture Box Office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Clint Black.
It's time to raise a little hell. The Ozark Mountain Daredevils. Saturday, March 1st, the Family Arena. With special guests, Molly Hatchet and the Georgia Satellites. This is the farewell tour of the Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
Keep your hands to yourself.
Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture Box Office, located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.
Is your home ready for the holidays? Beat the holiday rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Book online anytime at ZeroResSTL.com.
Winner of the prestigious Mark Cox Morning Show Award every year. The Mark Cox Morning Show. Heidi Harris on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Heidi Harrison from Marc Cox, having a great time with a couple of my favorite people in the radio business. We all work for the same company, though, but I usually do some different stuff. So, by the way, you can follow me, Heidi Harris Show, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, YouTube, Rumble. I'm everywhere. Heidi Harris Show. Please check it out. Happy to be here. Marc returns on Monday. He was just having some issues with his throat today. We are joined on the 97 FM Talk line by Joe Brazel, St. Charles County Councilman representing District 2. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We are doing great. I am excited because the weather is going to be gorgeous tomorrow. Perfect for a Christmas festival, don't you think, sir?
It's going to be wonderful. It's our 15th annual Defiance Christmas Parade. We have a 5K run starting at 10. We have it's in this town square. We have bounce house, vendors, a band. The parade starts at 12. I don't know if you guys have ever been down to it, but for our little old town, we put on a heck of a good parade. It's a big, nice parade, and it's a lot of Christmas festivities. And Santa Claus is going to be down there taking pictures for the kids after the parade at the town square. We have a band, Eddie Callison Band, a beer tent. It's really good. The thing about it, Kim and Heidi, is this is about raising money for the little town of Defiance. We pay for a volunteer fire department, for mowing our grass, for our street lights, and that's what we do these parades. It's a lot of fun.
That is fun. What a fun community event. We're speaking with Joe Brazel, St. Charles County Councilman, representing District 2 in Defiance. And it's the 15th annual Defiance Christmas Festival. I love that. So it's going to be parade, all kinds of things for the family to do, and the weather's going to be gorgeous, a great fall thing to do.
Yeah, and I'd like to give a shout out to our Captain Hunt with our St. Charles County Police Department and their color guard and the police. They do a wonderful job for our community. They come down and they participate in all of our parades with their color guard, and so it's very festivity. And I appreciate you guys so much advertising for us on this, and I look forward to seeing everybody down there. Everyone's welcome, and we love seeing people down there.
Well, thank you. And I love the community events like that. That's fantastic. And that'll help raise the money for the town of Defiance. Thank you so much for being here. Once again, Joe Brazel, St. Charles County Councilman. And it's the 15th annual Defiance Christmas Festival tomorrow. It starts at 10 o'clock. The parade starts at noon. It's going to be a beautiful, sunny, gorgeous day. Please go out, support Defiance. Thank you very much for being here, sir.
All right, thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Thank you. That'll be fun. I love community events like that.
When you think of Defiance, you really think of the wine country here. Defiance,
Mm-hmm.
Augusta, Herman, which I was mentioning is where Stonehill Winery is. It's really cool, though, when you hear about these events that they do. That aren't just go there for a winery. To actually go there to support, like he's saying, it's helping the community pay for their first responders, really. Fire, police.
Yeah, I love a community event like that. I really do, because talk about community. The whole community is coming out and supporting each other, and that is so important, and we're seeing less of that these days, and it's really nice.
Well, it was so sad during COVID when we were told we couldn't do any of that.
Right.
And even though COVID feels like it was forever ago, it's still exciting. Sometimes I'll just be walking in a restaurant and I'll think to myself, oh my gosh, it's crazy now that we're doing this, and that just 3 years ago, none of this would have been allowed.
Right. And we can never forget what they did to us, and never allow it to happen again. All the shutdowns and all the craziness that went on, and the kids out of school, the kids who suffered terribly as a result of being separated. I mean, the park not far from my house, they literally had police tape around, those things you can get on that kind of rock back and forth. They have the the thing on the bottom that makes them go back and forth, the spring on the bottom. That was even taped closed. Really? A kid's going to get COVID on that?
The amount of measures they took were ridiculous. There were some restaurants in the St. Louis City area, maybe other places too, but I'm thinking of a couple, and I'm not going to call them out by name, but they were requiring you to show your vaccine passport in order to get in and actually eat there.
Wow.
I don't think I'll ever go back there. And I used to enjoy that
I wouldn't
restaurant.
either. No, I would take notes, and I did take notes of the places that acted like Nazis, and I said, I'm not ever going back.
Yep.
I'm going to remember I would remember being in a fish store, some pet store, looking for something. Some young girl would start giving me a hard time. Well, if you're not going to wear a mask, I'm thinking you'd be perfect for the Hitler Youth. I mean, honestly, this was a young girl giving me a hard time about wearing a mask, and I should have coughed on her or something. And I thought, wow, I mean, these people would fall right in line with that kind of thinking.
Yeah,
And
I
there was
saw a
some
sign the
scary
other day
stuff
that
that
was
went
talking about masks, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it just brought me right back to it.
Right? Don't you get like a weird, a flashback or something?
It's like PTSD.
It's weird.
So many
Yes.
people
Yes, it is.
had drinking issues, and that just continued right after the pandemic. And gosh, I would say dying of loneliness. The people who were in nursing homes. Did you see the study that came out, I think, this week, Heidi, talking about, study has revealed that it, in fact, did come out of the lab in Wuhan. Really? You think?
Yeah.
Wow, we've
Yeah,
been saying
you
that
think?
for how long? Trump was saying that forever. And everyone said he was
Yeah, and
crazy. How dare you?
Right. And there were different things in that. And I can tell you, because I had it, there were different things in that virus that weren't normal. Yeah, I know. I experienced them.
Same.
Exactly. So, weird symptoms I had. And who knows what effect it'll have on me long term. I don't know. I mean, I feel fine now. But I mean, I had weird symptoms. Like I felt like I'd done 1,000 crunches one day, like between the bottom of my ribs and the top of my hips. I just felt like I'd done 1,000 crunches. Not nauseous or anything, but I mean, that's not flu, kids. I don't know what that was. That wasn't flu. That was something they made in Wuhan.
I just feel bad for all the people who were coerced into getting the shot, and these young athletes we're seeing who seem perfectly healthy, at least, who are dropping dead. There's more to that story.
There is a lot more to that story. Listen, guys, it's been so fun hanging out with you. I appreciate you guys.
Great working with you, Heidi.
Thank you for filling in at the
Yes,
last
thank you
minute.
for filling in.
Yeah, always fun to see you guys. You can follow me, Heidi Harris Show, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Rumble, whatever. I do podcasts and videos and all kinds of stuff. When I'm not doing this and pitch hitting at the last minute for my good buddy Marc Cox. Marc returns on Monday. Everybody have a great weekend. And please get out to the Defiance Christmas Festival if you can. All right, guys, see you soon.
I'll see you at PBR this weekend.
Oh, fun. That should be fun.
Oh, there's your dog barking, Heidi.
We've
I
been
know. I
waiting
tried
for
to get
that
him out of
all
here.
morning.
Just saying
Stop
goodbye.
it. They're roughhousing in my office.